Alrighty, welcome to episode 145 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. During his appearance at the 2023 Edison Electric Institute conference, Elon Musk has indicated that the volume production ramp for the Tesla Semi has been delayed by about a year. He cited battery supply constraints as the main reason for the delay. Tesla is currently offering 3 months free unlimited supercharging to anyone ordering and taking delivery of inventory Performance Model 3s and Ys before the end of June. Tesla's share price has undergone a record 13-day positive streak, with prices increasing more than 40% from about $183 to about $259 US. Tesla's Cybertruck has taken its closest journey to Australia thus far, with it landing in New Zealand ahead of cold weather testing. Tesla has patented its version of steer-by-wire, whereby there is no direct physical connection between the steering wheel and the powered steering rack turning the front wheels. If implemented in its premium models S and X, it is highly likely that these models would easily be manufactured in right-hand drive configuration and thus be reintroduced into the Australian market. Renewable energy giant Neoen has been awarded a 197 megawatt 4-hour battery storage services contract that will see it install a 219 megawatt 877 megawatt hour big battery in Collie that comprises 244 Tesla megapacks. The Collie Big Battery project has also gained approval for a total capacity of 1 gigawatt with 4 gigawatt hours of storage, which if fulfilled by Tesla would require about 1,022 megapacks. Horizon Power has completed the Broome 150 kilowatt Chempower WA EV network fast DC charging station, with it now being fully available on the ChargeFox billing network. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and welcome everyone to Ask Us Anything. If there's anyone that is new and would like to say hello, please do unmute yourselves and say hello if you're comfortable in doing so.
Yeah, g'day Harold. G'day everybody. My name's Chris. Haven't got my
Chris.
Tesla yet. Cheers, mate. Expected to get it in the second week of July, I believe. So it'll be a Model Y, a rear-wheel drive, 5.0 pack. So yeah, really looking forward to that. And been a lurker here for about 3 months now, and been really enjoying the byplay. So looking forward to tonight. Cheers, mate.
Cool. And welcome, Chris. And yeah, it's a shame that you're going to squeeze your car into the third quarter. That's a pity. I dare say it's probably on one of the ships that's coming. I think it's next week. So yeah, there's just not enough time. But
Yep.
Congratulations nonetheless on your impending delivery.
Cheers.
As is traditional, I'll ask for someone else to, even though I'm pretty sure no one else will, but I'll ask if there's anyone else who is new to please say hello. And if not, then we'll at least get a 5-second pregnant pause. All right, there was a pregnant pause. Okay, so I think, Christian, you had a question to ask.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Sorry, Harold. I think a guy called Terry Philpo has been trying to say something, but can't get himself off mute. I think, is that right, Terry? No.
Yeah, go, Terry.
Yeah,
there you go. We got you now.
Yeah.
Got you now.
Yeah, just saying hello. Just got had my Tesla Y Performance for 4 weeks now. There might be a few questions I would like to ask, if I can. Down the track,
Absolutely.
but it was my turn.
Yep, no worries. And welcome, Terry, and congratulations on your awesome car. We'll go straight to Christian because I'm not sure how long Christian will be on. So yeah, Christian, shoot.
Hi, I'm just wondering with the Model Y standard model, is it covered by government rebate?
No.
No, it's not. Okay, sure.
No. So for the WA government EV rebate, the dutiable value of the car has to be no greater than $70,000, and the Model Y has a dutiable value. It's in the order of about $71,000 or thereabouts. So I'm just going to check on Tesla's website, the Australian version of the website, and Tesla Model Ys, if we go to Model Y and share the screen, in WA, the dutiable value, once this website gets going, is $71,100. That's the subtotal, including GST. So it misses by $1,100, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
But it does qualify for the federal government, for business purposes, fringe benefits tax exemption, and businesses also get a 100% day one depreciation on the
Okay.
value of that asset if it's purchased through a business.
So pretty much it's only Model 3 is the one that available for rebate.
Some Model 3s. So
It is the standard one.
yeah, so if you go to Model 3, and unfortunately this website's going super duper slow at the moment. I think it's actually my computer. So if you quickly look, at a guess, the long range would fit.
74.
No, that's 76,000. So you can only get the standard range Model 3, and then we'll just check if we pick red with white interior. That's probably going to, yeah, that'll fit. And if you also get the sport wheels, which is the most you can load a standard range Model 3, and yes, that'll fit as well. So any version of the Model 3, as long as you do not select Enhanced Autopilot at the start, you'd always buy that later, then any version of the Model 3 will fit, and then basically standard range.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
But bearing in mind, if you're a business owner, the most lucrative part of buying an EV at this stage is the federal government fringe benefits tax exemption, because even if it's for your own purpose and you are the owner of the business, you do have to account for personal use. Whereas if it's an EV that does not have luxury car tax attached to it, so I think that value is in the order of $83,000 or $84,000 before on-road costs, then the business, it still has to calculate the fringe benefits tax, because it's a report. It has to report what the fringe benefits tax would have been, but it doesn't pay it. It's exempt from paying. And like I said, the 100% day one asset write-off is also great for tax purposes too, because you basically get a rather large deduction from day one.
Alrighty. So pretty much only Model 3, the cheapest one. That's it.
Yep.
If you want the $3,500, if that's what you really want, that's correct.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
No worries. Alrighty. So has anyone else got any other questions? Actually, Terry, I think you mentioned you might have had a question or two. So
Yeah, well, I do actually. I've come out of a Lexus to a Tesla, which I've got no regrets at this stage. I'm missing a few things, and maybe someone there could help me. I hate the rear vision mirror on my Y. If I have to hate anything, that's the only thing I can't stand, not seeing at the back. Is there someone in Perth that puts aftermarket or accessories on the Ys, that does it as a business?
do you mean an aftermarket rear view mirror?
Yeah. Well, with a camera at the back, and the mirror becomes a screen, basically.
Or you can just use your reverse camera while you're driving.
Yeah, it's not the same. It doesn't give you the direct distances behind you.
But you got
There
three
are
cameras.
aftermarket options, yeah.
Yeah.
Hanshaw sells a mirror. Basically, it's a screen with someone has to put a camera at the back of the car. And but you know, you go to some places and no, we don't touch Teslas, and that's illegal. Avoids your warranty and all that sort of stuff. Is there anyone in Perth that just does it as a business to put accessories on the Teslas that you know?
Well, there are companies that sell accessories, but I'm not aware of any companies that sell rear view mirror camera.
Oh yeah, Henshaw makes
screen.
one. It looks
the Chinese
pretty awesome.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, surely the person that you approached that said they don't do Teslas ... Well, I presume they do other vehicles.
Yeah. They do all, the Alberts and stuff like that who put stereos and amps and stuff in there.
So do they fit cameras for other vehicles?
They do, but they won't touch the Tesla.
Yeah, right. Maybe they're scared of the
they're scared of the warranty
or something.
infringements, and then if you lock it up, then they're going to tow it away and stuff like that.
Terry,
Yeah,
you could try. I bought the Henshaw front and reboot automatic openers from a company over east, and I paid for the installation as well. And they use the company called Voltaic in Welshpool.
Voltaic? How you spell that?
So VOLT.
Yeah.
AIC.
Yeah.
In Welshpool. So they installed it, did a pretty good job.
Okay, cool.
Could always try them if you don't have it.
I'll look them up tomorrow, yeah. And the only other thing I missed from Alexis is the overhead display. Is there any, that's the one. Is there any, where do you go to make suggestions to Tesla what you're missing and what they can maybe introduce down the track?
They did actually have they tweeted out that exact question to elicit responses. I think that tweet thread might still be out and about. It was only about a month ago that they did it. So you can do a reply to that tweet, although I think it's probably got a dozen thousand replies by now.
Yeah.
I've just found the Twitter handle or the link, so I'll just put it in the chat.
Yeah, cool. I'll bring it up.
If I can get to it. Here we go. All right, chat.
So Terry, I presume you're looking for something like a head-up display.
Yeah, I love my head-up display in the Tesla. Absolutely, all the Aldis have got it, all the electric Aldis have got it. A lot of cars have got them, but Tesla lacks them. You know, I don't want to put a cluster in if I can help it because I like the simplicity of the car.
Okay, so this is Tesla's thread. It basically poses a very simple question: what should Tesla improve? Let us know in the comments below.
Okay.
So there are doesn't say how many comments there are, but there are 1,100 retweets, and you can just basically tweet at this. So if you just if you just go to @Tesla in Twitter, and you'll find that thread. Actually, the thread is in the chat. So Peter's just put it in the chat.
Okay, cool.
So you can then put a list of questions, and in fact, Pete has actually done quite a few, as I see here.
Okay.
Bring back refreshed Model S's and X's. Well, there's a chance that might happen, and quite a few other. Yeah, like for instance, bring out the Cybertruck earlier than you otherwise would have in compensation, and a few other things.
Did we buy the Model 3 too late this year? Because they're having a refresh next year.
Oh, look, by definition, every car you buy is in some respects going to be different to the cars that come off the next ship, basically. In essence. The best time to buy a Tesla was, last year, because at least you would have enjoyed it for that extra year. But, it's just a matter of luck. You could literally feel unlucky if Tesla brings out the refresh version I mean, for what we know, most of the actual items that have been refreshed are more to do with cost savings than actually user-facing enhancements. So,
just the new cameras that are coming out, which are a bit more awesome for the car, and we'll be able to retrofit them on our cars.
No.
Well, it sort of depends. I mean, you mentioned that the cameras are. Yeah, well, you mentioned that the cameras are awesome, but you weren't that happy with the rear view camera on the screen. So again, if that camera is different, it's going to look the same, really. Most of the resolution changes for the cameras are to do with function of the autopilot than anything else.
Well, that's what
and also probably price. I mean, as technology marches on, there are new versions, so it's even harder to get the, let's call it, lower resolution cameras because chip fabricating companies go on to the next thing. So,
I don't want to hog this. I've got one more last question. I'm contemplating buying enhanced autopilot. Any suggestions? Yes, no, or not? Because come the end of the month, it's probably beneficial before the end of the month.
Only if it's a business car, Terry. So
it's a business car, yeah. It's a business car.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, that's between you and your accountant. But I, for one, have bought FSD, the whole lot, for $10,100. But on my wife's car, I put enhanced autopilot because the two of us came out of an S and an X, which had full self-driving. And one thing that I certainly missed was, let's call it semi-automatic or automatic lane changing. And that's what you do get in enhanced autopilot for $5,100. So that's, I think I will throw it to everyone else in the room, but I personally think that the 5,100 is fairly good value for the extra features you get. When you go up to the 10,100 for full self-driving, those extra benefits are a little bit less compelling for now.
That's not available in Australia yet, but is it? Full self-drive? Not even.
Yes, it is. You can buy it for $10,100.
Oh wow! Okay.
But what you've seen on YouTube with the FSD beta program in the United States is not yet widely available in Australia.
Okay.
And full self-driving is definitely in beta mode, although as is autopilot. To be brutally honest, Tesla does still refer in some cases to autopilot being in beta because it's not fully, you can't just leave it hands off and ignore what it does. You've got to still pay attention.
I understand. Yeah, no, I'm contemplating it. I think I love it. I love what you get with the car, but if it's enhanced a bit, I'd love that as well. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what does everyone else think about? Go, Richard.
My Model 3, I got full self-driving ages ago. And the Model Y I've just put on an enhanced autopilot. And in some ways, enhanced autopilot is better because if you come up to a green light with full self-driving, you've got to interact with a car. Otherwise, the car will stop even on a green light.
Oh, God. Okay.
But the thing is, if you buy enhanced autopilot, an FSD eventually is worth having. You've already paid some of it. So you just top it up.
Yeah, the other $5,000 for the FSD, you're really paying for a option to get future updates at no cost. That's essentially what that $5,000 amount is.
All right. Well, I can pay a bit later on then. All right.
Down payment on a dream.
Cool.
Yeah.
Buy some lotto tickets.
You got to have a dream before you before
the other piss off is that you can get a cheaper car now. Prices come down again if you look. But anyhow, that's another story.
In what sense, Terry? For a Model Y, you mean?
No, I have a car exactly like mine with performance. Yeah, as you know, that cost about 107.
Oh,
this was
yes.
This was 99 on the road.
Yes, but that's inventory only.
Okay.
Performance Model Ys. So they're the ones that are only in stock. So I'll just bring up Tesla's inventory page. And if you just have a look at inventory in WA for Model Y, and we've got Yeah, there's 2, 4, 6,
That's the one I saw, 91. Yeah.
8 performance Model Ys that are going quite cheaply. So the cheapest is the Poverty Pearl White with black interior.
That's what I got. Yeah.
And this one is going for $99,872.
Pretty good value.
Its subtotal is 90,980. Look, it's great value, and I've bought 2 performance Model Ys, and yeah, hindsight, Harry says, well, maybe I could have got it cheaper now, but that's always the way. But the point is, I've enjoyed the car for 2 months, and it's like buying anything. You could buy a bar of chocolate, and the next day it's on special at Coles for 2/3 the price. So
I love it so much that I come to Brisbane and I got a hire car. Guess what it was? Model Y.
Absolutely. And I went to Melbourne and did the same thing and had a Model Y.
You miss it. Sitting at home missing it.
Exactly.
Last question. I know I said that before, but curb rash. Anyone in performance cars with those wheels have curb rash, and who would they get to fix it?
Mine doesn't. I'll just take that halo off my head. So mine doesn't. My wife's doesn't. So just drive carefully, Terry. Come on.
First now I got it. I got curb rash.
I've done both sides on my car with my aftermarket.
Oh.
So I bought some paint. I bought some paint at a hobby shop, and it's just a bit light. So I put some black in it, paint it on. You can hardly see it.
Yeah, I've done that, but I know.
Stand it back and fill it first, a couple of spots. But I mean, it's not perfect, but it's better than silver.
I know it's there. I just think if someone else got someone that they liked and they did a good job, that's all.
Oh, you can get it done, but it's $250 a wheel, and then you do it next day. So what's the point?
Yeah, I know. I'm getting it done on Monday, and I bought the protectors this time, so you can, if you do it in the spot, you can take them out and replace them. So I might as well get it done.
Just get some black
Very
paint,
good.
patch it up, and you can hardly see
No,
it.
you can get the same paint. That's
Right.
yeah. They come as that paint can come in a kit if you wanted it. I thank you. I just I'd ask. I know the wheelman does it. That's who I got coming around.
What's his name?
Okay.
The wheelman.
Wheelman. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. That's something different.
Hey?
Andrew from Smart Finish. He does the Tesla tires.
Who?
Andrew
from
Smart Finish.
What does he charge a tyre, Paul?
$200 a wheel.
He's gone up, has he?
Terry, I've just put Andrew's mobile number in the chat for you.
Oh, cool. That'll be good. Just in case I need him next time. I know there's a place in Malaga that takes it off and redoes like new, but it's 360 a tyre. And
He was 150 a tyre, but he's got to pay the kickback. That's why right now. So.
No kickbacks. I don't even know him. I've only just texted him a couple
It's just he doesn't know him. It's just an envelope. It's just an envelope that comes in his letterbox. It doesn't know.
No, it's just a Bitcoin. It's a Bitcoin
round paper bag. They call
QR code. All righty.
Unfortunately.
Has anyone else got any other questions, or particularly anyone else new? Oh yes, go Darren. Once you're unmuted, there you go.
Sorry, yeah. I had to find the 3 screens. I had to find where the mouse was. Sorry, my bad. Has anyone had Autopilot turned on? And now this is just standard Autopilot, not enhanced. But in listening to the comments, I'm thinking about getting enhanced. And all of a sudden, it's driving along. It happened to me a few times on Great Eastern. It wasn't Great Eastern, Tonkin. And suddenly severe left.
Oh,
It's trying to kill you.
and with all it almost broke my wrists to keep it on the road.
wow.
And
I'm thinking,
was this on is this adjacent to an off ramp? Like as you were passing an off ramp?
Yeah, exactly. But it had the dotted lines.
Yes. So unfortunately, one great thing about Teslas are that they get regular software updates. And one less great thing about Teslas is that they get regular software updates. And you're never quite sure which version of Autopilot you're going to get. And lately, a lot of people have been noticing the very same thing.
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
It scared me
Alex,
enough
you've just distracted me. Sorry. So
Sorry.
what happens is, if you look at the logic of what the camera is seeing, you've got a solid white line on Tonkin Highway. It stays solid and it veers off to the left, and then you've got the dotted white line that sort of guards off the off ramp, and then ahead of that you've also got a solid white line, which is the pointy bit of the off ramp, or as it disappears. Unfortunately, at the moment, the cars sometimes are getting in this mode of they hunt the solid white line, and they sometimes will do that if it's like a bus bay where it's a bus stop reservation or whatever you call it, where the bus goes off the road, and it just happens at random times. So unfortunately, yeah, that's why Tesla does say that you should keep your hands
on the wheels.
Basically on the wheel at all times, just to guard against that.
Sorry for interrupting. I find myself gripping lately very much at bus bays, or anytime there's a change in any line marking on the road now. And I came back, so I did 250 Ks in the metro area today, and Albany Highway, it hunted the bus bay, and that was interesting. And Neves Road, it could see the center line quite happily, but when that white line finished on the left-hand side, it decided to take a severe left, and it almost broke my wrists. I'm wondering, in concert with that issue, how does enhanced autopilot correct for that?
No difference. No, so all that enhanced autopilot does is open up extra features, such as navigate on autopilot, where if you're navigating to somewhere and you're on a freeway and some very big highways, but only small stretches of them, it will automatically turn off at off ramps without you having to do anything. It'll turn the indicator on if you're in the left-hand lane, and it will automatically take the off ramp, which is kind of magical. Also, if you can make it automatically change lanes to get into a better lane if it's driving through slower traffic, or you can make that process semi-automatic, whereby it'll suggest that it wants to change lanes, and then it can ask you to confirm that. And I mean, I personally do it on confirmation. I think, Pete, you just let it go for it and see what happens on navigate on autopilot, automatic lane changes.
Yeah, obviously you've got to be, have your hands ready to go, but you can, yes, the over-the-air updates are a bit of a lottery. You never know what you're going to get. But yeah, you can sort of over time get used to when and where it does these, freaky things. So you can always almost suspect it. I mean, one thing that it does, which is, which it should do, but if a car goes across the road in front of you at a perpendicular angle, even if it's, 500 meters away, the car will press the brakes fairly hard, and it will keep the brakes on even though the car's already gone for way too long. So yeah, so when I see that happen, I already have my foot ready on the accelerator just to override it. But yeah, you can get used to. You can start.
In relation to that, and you've led me to my next question, if I may, please. So I've had my first experience with phantom braking, nothing in front of me, and as Pete pointed out, the car darting in front of me. Is there a way to adjust the radar / it's not radar, it's cameras, but in other cars it's radar, but the distance to the car in front of you?
Oh yes, you can.
So you use your right-hand scroll wheel.
Click it right and left.
Are we talking tack or are we talking about perpendicular
Both.
traffic?
Same.
No, so it's distance following, the following distance to a car behind.
Yes, 100%. Yep. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
you
it-
scroll
Press
wheel
your right
left to
scroll wheel
right.
button. You go, I think you go right to increase the distance and left to decrease it, or the other way around.
Left to increase and right to decrease. And it's at the moment traveling at 2.
Thank you.
You used to do 1.
1. I know. I used to love 1, but it's 2.
Yeah, back in about this time last year, around June, July last year.
Yeah, it's when they got rid of the radar.
And that's the right-hand scroll wheel.
Yeah,
Didn't
but
know
you don't scroll it up or down. You click it
left
to the left or right.
I did
It
not
And
know.
it'll come up. It'll come up
While
on
you're
the
in
screen
autopilot
underneath.
or in traffic aware cruise control. And
Thank you.
just as you mentioned before, if the car sort of doing weird things in lanes, one classic thing that it will do. So for example, if you imagine you're coming from the right to the left and you're in the inside, I think it's called the inside lane. See how you've got these dotted lines, which is sort of guiding traffic. Now, if you're in this lane and you go through the intersection, the car is highly likely to decide that it wants to be in this, change to this lane without telling you at all. So, but you can instantly see this because you can see these guidelines. What it's basically doing is it's looking at this right-hand line and it's picking it up again here and it's thinking that it should stay to the left of this line. So then it changes lanes at a bit of a 30-degree angle. So that's something else that the car can do. But once you are used to that, then you're kind of ready for it at intersections. And you just sort of hold one hand, just guard the steering wheel. And all that'll happen is it'll sort of jerk. Once you apply about 0.5 kilogram of force to the wheel, or should I say if your hand is immovable, once the car turns the wheel so that 0.5 kilo of force is applied, it automatically disengages, keeps you on traffic aware cruise control, and then you go through the intersection and then just click back on. So it's unfortunately one of those things that it does, that there's not much that we can do about.
I appreciate that. Today I came to the realization that this is just a new way of driving and I have to learn. And I am slowly.
Well, for completeness, and Pete Petrosky's tried this because I made him, and there's if you go down Manning Road, yes, if you go down Manning Road, there's an intersection with Leigh Street, which is at a 45-degree angle. So basically, Manning Road is 45 degrees here. There's a left, I don't know if that's 135 degrees, and that's a right to 45 degrees because they're at 90-degree angles. If you go in the left lane and there's no traffic in front of you and the traffic lights are green, it will basically not go to the right, not go to the left. It'll split the difference and aim right for this light pole, right on the edge of this, on the corner, at 60 k's an hour, and it will not stop. So just be careful.
Don't go down Manning Road.
If you're in the right lane, it's fine because it'll follow the dotted white lines and it'll be okay. So if you're in the right-hand lane, it will follow these lines perfectly.
I'm finishing my doctorate at Curtin, so I'm there a lot.
Well, I try it every time, and I made Pete try it a couple of times, 2 different times, and it, regardless of which version of software or which model of car you have, whether it was my Model X, my wife's S, my older Model Y, the new Ys, Pete's 3, or his Y, they all do the same thing. Really reliably.
I'm going to have to be very careful there. I appreciate it. And this is that learning curve, and it's just learning. We're just learning.
Now, something you're speaking about learning, and what Alex has just made me learn is something rather exciting. So this is partway through the installation of the Tesla Lancelin supercharger.
Awesome. Is it commissioned already or not?
No, because you can see here they've basically got trenching. They've cut they've cut through the bitumen, so they'll probably fix all that up before it's fully commissioned.
Tesla hasn't got an opening date yet. It just says target opening in 2023. So
Well, after
Right,
6
right,
years of waiting
right.
for anything north of Perth, that's
Yeah.
nothing.
That's brilliant.
So good.
So
And they got a
so
pull in.
Yeah,
the one on the end. You look at that. That's a pull in. Because if you back, you're pulling in.
Oh, yeah.
You know how you reverse. The left side, which is the right side, not the right side, which is the wrong side.
there's only 2 stalls here.
Yeah,
Paul.
no, if you zoom in, and then see how that thing's covered, look at the base. That's another one.
Here's a pull.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah,
because you
so you
reverse
pull in
in.
that one.
Sorry,
Yeah,
that is
okay,
the
yeah.
pull-in. You're right.
Don't
Paul.
forget,
That's
Harold.
right.
Don't forget, Harold. Tesla will always do a minimum of 3 stalls. So
That's right. So yes,
Yeah.
and you can see here that's the trench for it too. That's the trench
Yeah,
for the
exactly.
cabling, which is going
Yeah.
right to there, right, and there it is there.
Yeah.
Wow, there you
Yeah.
go. And
Happy
that also
days.
that's also good for other EVs because Tesla will be opening their supercharger network to all EVs,
Hopefully not for a while.
and hopefully as soon as possible. But we can argue that toss in a moment. So that way it actually gives more flexibility to non-Tesla EVs also. If you've got charge ports, say on the front right of your car, then you can just reverse in and use it. If you've got a Kona with front entry and all those sort of different options. So that's awesome.
My next door neighbour, I don't know if you got it, my next door neighbour works for Rice and Power on the project of putting EVs all the way up the coast. He sent me a map on all the working ones and all the ones proposed, if you're interested.
Yeah, we look at it.
Yeah, as
Is
long
that
as
one-
there's no blowback. If you want to put it in the chat, I'll certainly post it up. I mean, we do know the locations. We do know all the locations where they're going to go.
Okay, so that's what I got, yeah.
Yeah, and we do know that the Broome supercharger, the Broome WAEV network fast DC charger is up and running.
Running, okay.
Actually, Harold, on that, I was surprised it's a Kempower. I noticed you mentioned. I thought there were going to be tritium on the horizon.
Only on off-grid, only on the
okay.
the microgrid the off-grid locations.
Yeah, right.
Richard. So
No, that was good
for
to see,
instance, so for your road houses, it'll be 50 kilowatt tritium RTMs with dual CCS nozzles.
Yep.
But on the main big town power supplies, they'll be 150 kilowatt Kempowers.
Brilliant. Okay, that's awesome.
So James has just put on the chat. So this is actually the location. So the Tesla chargers are here, and the WAEV network chargers are here. And of course, we know that Synergy have said that the Lancelin Kempower charger or that site will be operational will be commissioned prior to the school holidays.
Oh, good.
I've actually got a picture of it, Harold. Okay, I'm just going to show you. I'm just going to show a picture of it.
No worries. Oh, and in fact, since you got that picture, there's actually one in PlugShare which has got.
It's more recent.
That's the WAEV network charger there, and there's your Tesla supercharger. Oh, that just looks awesome.
There we go.
Richard Chapman,
cool.
are you filling in for Nigel Saunders tonight, just with your head in the screen?
Sure.
Because I actually thought that you look very much
let's
like
say
Nigel.
yes.
You look very much like Nigel Saunders.
I'm definitely getting there, aren't I?
Okay, so this is part of the installation process. You can see the gentleman in the corner there playing with the power unit, actually probably the cabinet actually. So there's the WAEV network charger, and there is the supercharger. And
Is that
if we
the
just
one that
close,
Pete Kostrowski opened, Harold? Pete did the
That he-
official opening on that one?
No, we were all there. It was Harold,
Oh.
Rob, we're all there. Sandra.
And who poured champagne on it?
No, I just lifted my leg and did a piss.
Oh, okay. It's the Lanson method.
and this is the site. In fact, apologies, I was actually wrong. It wasn't where I said it's basically they're all literally butting up against each other.
Hey,
So it's awesome.
Harold, do you understand that configuration? Do you understand?
Yes. So basically, you'll reverse a Tesla in this. Oops, this mouse is going to move slowly in this bay.
Yeah.
You'll reverse a Tesla into this one.
Yeah.
And you basically have to forward park into this one.
Yep.
Otherwise, you won't. If you're a Tesla, you won't be able to charge. But if you're
But if you're charging there, that means the car in front of you can't get out until you finish charging.
No.
No. See this bay here.
No.
See this bay here against this curb. That
gotcha.
bay you forward park into that bay.
Gotcha.
This
And
this
then
bay
reverse
you reverse
parking
park, and this bay you reverse park.
It's pretty simple, but it'd be really enjoyable to watch people work it out because I can take hours and hours.
Yeah.
To work out which is going.
We'll set up some cameras.
Still not going to work if you've got a boat on the back, though, is it?
Oh yeah, you
Just
use the
thinking
other
that.
one and then block half the road.
Or a caravan.
I'm thinking you could swing it around the corner and just park in nose first and sort of have your trailer and your car at a 90-degree angle.
On the road.
Ooh.
Harold, maybe if
You
you
block the road, though, wouldn't you?
So if we look, so this bay is here. So this is Tesla, WEV network, whatever. So yes, you drive inwards and you turn right forwards, and your boat is sort of like, or caravan's kind of hanging in here. It's probably going to block this bay, and you do a sort of park in straight, and then as you come out, you try not to jackknife, because the problem is you'll have the actual charger here, so you'll be limited to how much you can turn. Otherwise, you'll take the stall out on the corner.
Yeah.
But look, it's awesome. Now, Paul, you said that you hope that Tesla doesn't open the supercharger network. For the sake of other EVs, for two reasons, I hope they do bring it out very quickly, is because unfortunately, Tesla owners many Tesla owners have saved up to buy their Teslas, and they seem intent on extracting the best value for the cheap electricity that they get to charge, even though it's a fraction of the cost of petrol or diesel. So, for example, people at Williams, Tesla owners at Williams, have been taking advantage of the arbitrage of the WEV network, their charger being 60 cents per kilowatt hour, whereas at Williams it's 66 cents. So for the sake of 6 cents, it's quite plausible that two Teslas could occupy the entirety of the fast DC charger at Williams. Fast DC charger at Williams to save 6 cents. And then, of course, if you're a Hyundai Ioniq driver, owner, or any other EV brand, you can't use the supercharger. So once the
supercharger would be faster, though, wouldn't it? So
yeah,
you'd think you'd pay that extra 6 cents just to get out of there quicker. But
but Richard, I've observed people sitting at a shopping centre for 3 hours to get what's the equivalent of about $3 per hour savings.
I know, you got more.
So some Tesla owners think it's worthwhile spending $3 or earning $3 per hour rather than doing something else that's useful.
That's like a quarter of the minimum wage that you're valuing your time at if you do that.
Yeah, that's how I equate it.
It's not even that. I think the minimum wage is about $22 an hour or thereabouts. So it's like a fifth of
about 12%. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but and that's just what happens. That's just what happens, unfortunately.
Harold,
we need more chargers anyway.
Yeah, the other reason why it's good if it's open to other cars as well is because the utilization of the chargers, you would think the more likely Tesla put in other chargers. and more of them. So
I mean, Karen is just getting bloody utilized a lot. Not saying what it actually is, you know, it's always got cars there, sort of stuff, and they haven't put any more charges there or anything, you know, like.
But are they S's? Are they S's and X's, or are they
No,
threes and
the other
Ys?
day I went and I did plug in the slow charger because I was there for a while, and but yeah, when I got back to the car, it was all chockers and it was Ys and threes. So, and that was everything. All the charges were.
was that a weekend, Paul? Was that a Saturday or a Sunday?
Oh, that might have been a Saturday. I have been there during the week as well, where it might not be all of them, but there's always at least a car there, that sort of stuff. But the amount of cars that we have now, WA,
Yeah.
we're already beyond the car park of the superchargers. They should be putting more now, like doubling what they currently have everywhere. I mean, how do we push these guys?
There is a supercharger going into a central Perth location, and all you need to do is find that patch of grass where they're doing the services detection and all that sort of stuff.
What suburb's that?
Central Perth, the greater Central Perth area.
Okay, don't worry. So Alchemist to Mandurah.
I promise, as soon as it's obvious that that's what's happening, as soon as there's conduits in the ground, I'll take a happy snap and post it up.
And how many charges are we going to get? How many charges will we get there?
You'd think it'd be 6, but might just be 3.
Yeah, I think Tesla's standard these days is 6 in like in the city.
Bigger ones.
Oh, you know, in large locations.
Cool.
I'm just trying to find.
Might only be 3 if they can't get the power. Approved.
Oh no, they'll just do what Tesla normally does, is get a new transformer. So there's in that location that it's a new transformer. So you just get a 1 MVA transformer and the job's done.
Sweet.
Alrighty. So yeah, so it's really exciting with the Lancelin supercharger, and obviously, I mean, it'd be awesome if that was ready prior to the school holidays. But in any case, we do know that Lancelin will be ready. The WAV network ChemPower charger will be ready before the school holidays. And I think the school holidays is
next week. I think
it starts end of this week.
1 week and
end of next week. Sorry.
1 week.
Oh yes, Michelle knows.
Michelle's counting down.
There's a teacher in the room.
There's a teacher in the house. I hope you've done all your reports, Michelle. They're all ready and done.
Done and dusted.
Very
Michelle,
good.
do you start counting down 3 months out?
She's got a clock.
Yeah, well, there's 10 weeks in a term, and I can tell you to the day, any day.
Very good.
Open the computer and it's got a countdown clock.
Yeah. I've even got the kids doing it now too.
Well, that's what that is very good. Alrighty, has anyone got? I'm just trying to get something up on my computer. But has anyone got any other questions in the meantime? Just to fill in for a moment.
Being a new Tesla owner, I'm just a bit confused about, charge it to 80%. No, charge it to 90% is okay. And you can also charge it for 100%. Maybe trickle charge is better for the batteries if you use the trickle charger overnight.
So Terry, you've got a performance Model Y?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you've got the long range. So if you have a look at your test.tokwa. Okay, I'm just going to bring up the little charge screen, which is, this one's an old one, but this is a screen that shows a standard range Model Y. And granted that this has now changed slightly, but you've still got the slider and you can choose anything between 50 and 100%. You'll notice that this setup does not have the word daily or trip, which your performance car and all long range cars does have. So, and the reason is that the word trip is just above the 90% mark, or at the 90% mark. So for any long range cars that have the words daily and trip, where you select the charge level, it's recommended that you set it to no greater than 90%. But you absolutely can charge your car to 100% for a road trip, which is precisely what it's for. But Tesla recommends that you start consuming that 10% diligently. So don't leave your car festering at that level for hours on end. You know, maybe half an hour or something like that. You try and minimize the time that it's at 100%. Because when Tesla charges to 100% in those batteries, they really mean it, and they do jam the electrons in hard. And at that level, it's considered a little bit corrosive for the battery, for the longevity of the battery. Now, as far as charge levels are concerned, Tesla has officially said that 90% is fine for NCA, which is what that chemistry is. I personally have had a Model X that I've put 220,000 kilometers on before I sold it to Richard Chapman, who's also in the room, and I religiously always charge that car to 90%. I know some people talk about 80%.
And I'm continuing to charge it at 90% as well, and that will be where it stays.
And the thing about trickle charging, fast charging, anything that is AC is considered trickle charging, or for the purpose of that sort of argument. So all of the Model 3s and Ys charge at 11 kilowatts if you've got 3-phase power, and they'll charge at about 7.6 kilowatts if you've got 32 amps single phase power. And then after that, it's just fast DC charging. Now, most of us in WA, we don't really have enough superchargers so that, you know, we sort of supercharge our cars all the time, particularly now that we have to pay for it. If there were people who were S and X owners, you know, who have free unlimited lifetime supercharging, you might be more inclined to do that because it's free. So WA doesn't really have that experience of incessant supercharging. But basically, don't worry about it, Terry. Just flick the slider to 90%.
Yeah, okay.
And charge it as often as you like. You know, I've got solar, and I get my wife's car charged every evening off a battery to 90% every day. So it recovers the 20 Ks that she drove that day.
Okay. Good to
know. And then the
Thanks
car will
for
be
that.
fine.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, but one little tip is if you do want to, if you're about to go on a road trip, one pro tip, and I do this all the time, is have your car, have the slider set to 90%, have it charged overnight, plugged in, and then when you wake up in the morning, just open your Tesla app and move the slider across from 90% to 100%. And then while you're brushing your teeth and whatever, having breakfast, in that roughly half hour, 40 minutes, your car will get so close to 100% that the extra 1% won't matter.
Okay.
So that's a little pro tip, so that you're not wasting time charging while you're on the road.
Cool. Thanks for that.
No worries. Alrighty, has anyone else got any other questions? Even anyone new, or they've only recently gotten their cars, or got any questions they want to pose?
After last week's chat, I turned around and bought the Model Y Performance.
Yay!
Hey.
Very good,
You
Peter.
legend.
$400 from the old cut, the second, the long range, but I can live with that.
So if you and Gerard now, are you going to have a drag race?
Yeah. So I pick it up Friday.
Brilliant. Good on you, mate.
Yeah, pretty happy.
Well done.
You love it.
Did they give you free supercharging for 3 months?
Yeah, I got 3 months supercharging.
Good.
I'm going down to see Harry at the finger. He's going to set my phone up after I pick the car up Friday. And my wife's Singaporean, so she was talking to some little Malaysian guy down there in Malay. So he's going to do her phone. So that's a bonus. That got me across the line, I think. But I'm pretty happy.
Sweet.
And broke.
Very.
Yeah.
And did you have to apply
Only
for
live
that
once.
free supercharging, or did they just give it to you
No, they
automatically?
just gave it to me. They actually rang me up and encouraged, like, I wasn't going to do it, but they rang me up and it sounded like a good deal. And you can't take it to your grave, so why not?
That's it.
Yep.
Very good. Very good. Okay. We might move on to something that's sort of probably showing some poor charging behavior. The other day I went to Riverton Forum Shopping Centre and went to plug in, but it was occupied by 2 cars, and they happened to be 2 blue Model 3s. And one was plugged in but had finished charging, and the other one wasn't plugged in at all but occupying the bay.
Son of a bitch.
Now, one thing that this person on the right-hand side did suboptimally is I think they accidentally took the wrong nozzle. They took the long one rather than the short one, because unfortunately these chargers aren't located very well. And he basically took the long hose, which meant that the car parked here can't actually charge. But having said that, if you can't charge in an EV bay, then please don't just stay there and park. No. Unless you were in your car, and obviously there was no one in either of these 2 cars. Now I just changed screens just for a second.
And you could see in the photo that there was empty bays. So they're just being friggin' lazy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So
see it from the distance. See between the white.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I know this left-hand car very well, and it usually parks just across here. But I'm not gonna show who that is. Now, I actually posted that photo on PlugShare because I said could not charge, and I explained on my check-in why. But someone else checked in with this note. This is the previous photo. And what they said was, idiot, use the right cable or use the right bay. Now, the person who wrote that note is the person that posted the photo, although he doesn't show who that person is. Although, I was
going to say, is that you, Richard Cooper?
No, it's not.
It's south of the river. I've been there.
That's not fair.
And what this person did was they actually jammed it, between the window and that seal. So
that's
you
not
could
good.
say they basically manipulated the car, and that day it actually rained in the afternoon.
Don't do that.
Now it's sort of interesting because on a different Facebook forum, another version of that photo came up by the person who was in that right-hand bay who had used the long cable, which was the wrong cable, and yeah, they got back to their car at 5 o'clock, I think it was, and said the paper was wet and there's a bit of moisture in the car, and it was a bit of an aggressive move. So. Please, sometimes you may be frustrated. As the ghost of Paul Keating, although he still is alive, as the ghost of Paul Keating would say, never get between an EV owner and a pile of free electrons. But be that as it may, and I know EV owners are a whole spectrum of society. We're all, we're now becoming very amorphous and representing all facets of society. Please don't get overly frustrated. It might be someone's first time. They just didn't realise, that they were using the wrong cable. But it's just not okay to write nasty notes, and it's even less okay to jam them into people's windows and things like that. Nothing good can come from it. It's just aggressive, and it's something that we should resist doing. And it's appropriate to call out poor behaviour.
And it's actually ironic that the person that actually wrote that note has actually broken a ABC, a non-written EV rule. One of the ABCs is, always be charging. Another one is always browse comments on PlugShare. Another one is always be courteous. So
yes,
definitely.
And it's incourteous to park your car in protest and not be plugged in, because it's very plausible that this person could have left.
Yeah.
And had they left and this person was not there, there would have been 2 bays then suddenly become available for people who wanted to charge. You know,
But it
so
could have been a non-Tesla with a port at the front of the car who may have been able to charge on the short lead.
yes. So let's try and be nice, everyone. And again, the irony wasn't lost on me that this person who was a victim of a nasty note unfortunately didn't help themselves by also overstaying their charge because their car had finished charging when I'd taken this photo. And the way you can tell is the LED on the front of the, let's just see if there's a photo of, it's a little bit hard to see, but there's, it's not going to show you properly. Yeah, very faint, but there's a green LED there. And if it doesn't move, if it's stationary, it means it's ready to charge. And if it starts strobing downwards, don't know what you call it, but progressing downwards, then it means that it's actually charging. So you can quickly see if a car is being charged or not. Bearing in mind, everyone gets a notification on their app, or at least do check your apps. If you go into your Tesla app, and I'll just spotlight myself, there is an option under,
Charge states.
I think it's your profile and settings for vehicle. Now here we go. I'll just spotlight myself. And Susan, I'll come to you very, very quickly. Apologies for that. 2 seconds. Spotlight for everyone. You'll see there are actually options, and you can have charging started. I don't bother with that, but I definitely do charging interrupted, and you can also do charging complete. So just change that. So when charging has completed, you'll get a notification on your phone. So please make sure that's set so that you'll know straight away that your car is finished charging and you can return to it and unplug it and move your car. Susan.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to just talk on that. I got extreme plug share anxiety today when I plugged in for what my car said 3.5 hours was what I needed. And so it was around about 7 a.m. and at 10 a.m. I looked at my phone and said, bloody hell, it's 10 a.m. I better get back to the charger. And sure enough, at 10 a.m. it had finished charging. Whereas when I plugged in, it had said it would take 3.5 hours. So just wanted to point out that sometimes it's not always, malicious or thoughtlessness or whatever. I suppose it's thoughtless to not know the time. But anyway, I raced back and got it off as quickly as I could.
Yeah, and the thing is, you might not have been aware of, like I said, if you go and look in your settings of your app, you can actually set your app to give you a notification once the charging is completed. So that way you don't even have to care.
That little window where it's complete and someone comes along and sees that the green light.
Oh, true. Yes. No,
yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, some people can be rather aggressive. There's another thing too, that there are 2 camps on the use of plug share. So some people consider some people consider that it ought to be mandatory and a requirement that every single person religiously checks into plug share for every time they use any charger on earth for any purpose. And there are some people that never use plug share. Because, for example, you don't need to use plug share to find out where Tesla destination chargers are. All you do is you click on the charger icon, the lightning bolt icon on your map, and it'll show all the superchargers and all of the public destination chargers. So there are people that don't even have plug share that don't use it, and that's okay. And then there are people, I'm just going to class myself as one of these people. There are people like myself where if I'm on a road trip, I'll do a wee on the tree and I'll mark every place I go because that's cool or whatever.
My dog does that.
And if there's something different that's happened to that site, so say if the site wasn't working and I found that it is working, I'll post that it is now working, and I'll do the opposite. I'll also post if it was working and I find it not working, I'll post that as well. But there are many other times when I don't post. And, you know, there'll be probably 50% of the people that will criticize me for not posting every single time. And then there are other people that go, well, I never post up. So please don't feel obliged to post up. One of the reasons people will use that, they will say that they want people to use PlugShare, is because it sort of indicates, well, A, that you are at the site, and if you use it skillfully, which most people don't, you could also say how long, or estimate how long you're going to be there.
That's
so people
what
can
I
work
did.
out whether it's, so people can work
Yeah,
out whether it's
sorry,
worth going.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I was doing. I put into PlugShare, 3.5 hours was my charge, and
Yep.
it was over and done with in 3. And
Yep.
I didn't get back to it until about 3 hours and 20 minutes. So, you know,
Yeah.
for 20 minutes,
That's
I'm
cool.
sitting there. It would have annoyed me if I'd turned up to charge and someone
Yes.
wasn't.
Yeah. And the thing that annoys people the most, because again, most people, although I did mention someone else that is not this case, but most people, they get annoyed when they can't get the free juice they think they're entitled to, because that's a main reason why people use charging at shopping centres and things like that, is to get the free juice, because, hey, we're all logical people, and if it's free, we're going to use it. So one thing is, people that get annoyed that they looked on PlugShare, that no one has checked in, and they get there and there's a car and it's charging, and they'll go, oh, you know, if you'd only checked in on PlugShare, and they could have avoided that frustration. The only thing is, there's nothing stopping that person being 500 meters in front of you on some road that's approaching that charger, having just reversed in, just plugged in, and we're about to check in on PlugShare. So you'll always still be semi-frustrated that you got beaten, you know. So PlugShare is not the panacea for everything. And to be honest, all of these free chargers are already suffering and will dramatically suffer from the tragedy of the commons, which is when you've got ships bringing in 300 plus Teslas every few weeks, the population of Tesla is going to go from 4,000 to 5,000 to 6,000 to 10,000, and the number of free charger locations is not really increasing. So they're all just going to be super occupied. People will be watching Netflix at 10 p.m. at a shopping centre just to get some free juice for $3 an hour.
No, I won't be doing that.
But having said that, you know, there is a lady we mentioned last week who lives in Joondalup and who is not permitted to install any charging infrastructure in her car bay that's the one that she uses. So she relies, by definition, on charging that's not at home. And of course, she can't use the chargers at the local Joondalup shops or nearby, because they are free. They're always hogged by freeloaders, where she would happily pay, but she can't pay and can't use them. So that's the other yin and yang.
So
of that
must be an
story.
apartment building.
Yes,
An
strata
apartment
company,
building.
and the strata basically refuses,
Can't be
without
retrofitted.
naming them, they refuse. She asked for a 10 amp
Plug.
power point at her own expense, and they said no.
Oh, she wants to take them to set. They can't do that.
Well, not alone. That's happened to me too.
Was that the same people that
They actually can, but you know,
They can. No, the problem is they can. And in fact, there was a threat made.
They shouldn't do it.
There was a threat made that, well, we could even, you know, suggest that perhaps an EV is dangerous to even park in our underground car park, because, you know, they catch on fire.
Yeah,
So,
like petrol.
Yeah, petrol cars don't.
never?
no, that's right. Exactly.
You never hear about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because with charging and stuff as well, I always just set a timer like 10 minutes before it's actually done, and then that, because like for me with Karen up, you got no connection and stuff like that, so I just do that all the time wherever I am and things like that. So
One thing I've noticed, and actually Susan, like particularly charging at home where I've got my own solar, is that the voltage is quite low when the car starts charging at 9 a.m. But by the time it gets to sort of peak solar during the day, the voltage is a lot stronger and the car charges a lot quicker. So I've noticed that, you know, when I know that it will be charged by a certain time, I can generally go, do you know what, it's probably going to be about half an hour before that because of the voltage rise. I know this is getting into the weeds a little bit, but yeah, it's just something I've noticed with more and more solar on our grid, that maybe that's kind of what happened when you plugged in and it was done sooner than you thought.
Well,
yeah, well, it's just that I expected it to be 3.5 hours. Like, I would just want to be courteous
Sure.
to everyone.
Oh yeah,
and,
no one's blaming you.
yeah, so I raced back, but there was no one waiting, so that was good. I didn't
To be honest,
and he thrown at me or anything.
I think no, but I think the car's actually sandbagged slightly. I think if it sort of says an hour, it'll actually usually get done in about 50 minutes. I think it usually finishes about 10-15 minutes early because it's probably being pessimistic.
So and getting used to the car is one of the things, isn't it? That because I've only had a month, so it was only about the second time I'd been to plug share. Because I got the wall connector installed at home, so I'm happy to just chuck it on there all the time. But I want to try it out and see, see what works. I went down to Eton on Sunday, and just so that I could use the supercharger down there and see how, what my range was going to be in the car. And, for $8 to get to Eton, I thought was fantastic.
It's half the price of petrol, basically, even if you pay full, 60 or 66 cents a kilowatt hour. And when you charge at home, even on the A1 tariff, it's a quarter of the price of petrol, approximately. So it's still such a great deal.
$2 a litre.
After 9 o'clock at night, it's even cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Oh yeah, that's right. So, and if you've got a battery storage system and solar, you can go on to Synergy's daytime saver tariff.
Midday saver.
Midday saver.
Yep.
So from, I think it's 7 a.m. to 3 p.m.
9 a.m.
Oh, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Yes.
you pay,
and it's 8 cents per kilowatt hour, which really is inexpensive.
All right. Okay. So Synergy.
Yes, but Susan, the sting in the tail it's a midday saver, but the sting in the tail is between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. It's over 50 cents per kilowatt hour. So
whereas if you pay 31 cents.
54 cents.
Yeah.
Hence,
So if you
the
don't
comment about the battery.
Exactly. So if you don't have battery storage and solar, it's probably not going to be in your favor on average.
Okay, I've got solar, but I haven't got battery yet.
No. So the problem is your sun's going to go, in winter, the sun's gone. I mean, by any real sense by, let's call it 4:30 really, or not even. So you get stung. Let's just say a lot of these tariffs are generally in favor of the person offering the tariff, unless you're a special case with robust battery storage, robust
would that make
solar.
It like the casino? Would that make Western Power like the casino?
No, because it's Synergy. No, it makes Synergy.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought it was.
We actually.
That's why they can afford the big battery.
Yeah, they can. Well, I can't remember what tariff it was at the time, but we got by for 3 years in a rental with a tariff where the price got really expensive between 3 and 9. But we bought an energy efficient TV, changed all the globes to LED. We're just really careful with our power, set all the timers for dishwasher, washing machine after 9 p.m. So you can do it if if you're careful about what power you use in that expensive time without a battery. But yeah, when you've got a house with lots of stuff, bigger house with lots of stuff going, it would make it a lot more expensive, I think.
Along with electrify everything. No gas, no wood, none of that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
then one trap I think a lot of people get caught up in is they'll get onto these tariffs and then they will dramatically alter their behavior. And it usually becomes inconvenient. And a lot of EV owners, look, I got in this trap too of trying to reduce my charging costs. And when I was on a road trip, I'd go to a different charger or I'd destination charge instead or something. And then I sort of decided, these cars are so cheap to run. They're awesome cars. Why am I letting it impinge on my lifestyle? you know, I can afford the 66 cents per kilowatt hour because it's still half the price of petrol. And life's too short to always be playing optimization games in your head and all that sort of stuff. And it kind of, it diminishes the experience of having an EV. So you should just go, look, I don't care. I'm just going to, when I'm on a holiday or driving around, just charge where it's convenient for me and not where it's 20% more efficient than the place next door or something, you know? You know, that's just something I'd sort of urge anyone, particularly if you're a new EV owner, because let's face it, you've gone from spending over $100 a week in petrol to not very much in electricity. But then don't waste hours of your life trying to reduce that 25% cost to 10% cost or something. You know, it's just not worth that last bit of marginal.
So
pain.
Harold, that would be the ICE equivalent. Sorry, for the ICE people, it was looking at where's going to be the cheapest fuel station, and I'll drive 10 kilometers to save a 0.5 cent per litre.
And then stay in line for half an hour as well.
And then eat 2 bars of chocolates to save $8 that they're not really saving.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I deleted my petrol app today. I don't need it anymore.
Hey.
Yes.
Good on you.
Thanks,
you know what
guys. I'm
really
going to
is?
leave you. I'm over east at the moment, so it's a bit late over here. So catch you next
Oh,
week.
no worries, Terry. Thanks for joining us
Thanks
from the
for your
future.
time.
You're very
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Thanks.
Take
Thanks,
care. Cheers.
Susan, just a quick tip when you're at Eton. So that was our first supercharger in WA. It's about, 6-7 years old, that charger. So that one has one connection per 2 stalls. So what that means is they're 140 kilowatts. So they share the one connection. So if you arrive and there's someone in the first bay, and then if you park directly next to them in the second bay, you might both get only about 70 kilowatts. Whereas if you park in any of the other 3 bays, you'll get your full 140. So yeah, just a good tip there.
So Pete, they're labelled 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, 3A, 3B, aren't they? So there's the hint.
But so that's what I thought as well, Steve. But so Carrying Up, so some of the others. So yeah, that's what I thought as well, until I noticed that they're all labelled that way for whatever reason. So yeah.
Absolutely. Carrying Up, wrong side of the river.
Right side.
Don't worry, Steve. There will be more superchargers down your way.
There'll be version 4 by then.
Probably not, but yeah.
No,
anyway,
I'm
there will be more
optimistic.
your way. Darren, you got your hand up patiently.
Yes, please. Insurance with Autopilot and enhanced Autopilot. Given what we spoke about a moment ago or earlier, has anyone had an experience with Autopilot kicking in and doing what it shouldn't have done and having to claim?
Thankfully, no, but the answer is simple. Regardless of the brand of car, regardless of what accessory you've purchased for that car, you as the driver, or should I say you as the person sitting in the driver's seat, are always responsible for everything the car does in every way. Full stop.
Even if you're not in the driver's seat, even if you summoning the car through your app.
Yes. Yes, there was did you see the Wham Bam Tesla cam footage of someone actually summoned their car and it went sort of across the bay and then turned left right into like it was a sign for a parking sign and knocked it over to a 45-degree angle while there was no one in the car. So, Darren, you are strictly always liable for anything your car does.
I understand the liability. I'm speaking to the physicality of if your reaction time, given the Autopilot takes a sharp veer to the left, and you're not quick enough to.
When you put Autopilot on, it always says you got to have your hands on your steering wheel.
Yep. And I did.
And I always have my hand on the steering wheel. And that's
And
4 years of driving with it.
It tried breaking my left hand.
Exactly. I was going to say do some push-ups.
If you look at the spec, Darren, it requires half a kilo of force to disengage. So
Okay.
it might have applied more as it had a bit of momentum up before your hand sort of gripped. So there might have been, I dare say, a little bit of angular momentum in the steering wheel, but the actual spec on Autopilot to disengage is half a kilo. So maybe it applied 2 kilos of force to your hand. Look, the shock of it might have made you feel like it was going to break your wrist, but it's just can't. It's just not able to do that.
The weird thing is I had my right hand on the wheel the whole time, on the ledge of the wheel. Is that on the window seal? Yep. And my left hand was on my drink bottle where I was taking a sip of water. and then I dropped my drink bottle because the car decided to go left very abruptly. And the force that it took, and my right hand was on the wheel the whole time. And this is something I'm experiencing a few times, is it's not sensing my hands on the wheel.
You just need to
because
more.
Go,
so there's one way to reduce the amount that happens is, under pedals and steering, under the pedals and steering menu, there's 3 options for your steering. So you can have sport, which is basically the tightest one, or you could go standard or whatever.
Comfort.
Yeah. So if you go to the sport one, it should do that less, because in the comfort one, you'll have a little bit more give in the steering wheel. And so in that little zone where there's give in the steering wheel, it can't sense any pressure because you're not pressing on, one extreme or the other, one limit or the other. So all you need to do is just turn it a tiny bit until you feel a bit of resistance, and then the car will pick up the fact that you've got your hands on the wheel.
Thank you for that. I'll do that. I appreciate it. That's it. That was my question. Sorry.
No
worries.
No, that's what
go,
we're
Pete. Go, Peter G.
Peter G. Yep, that'll do.
G. Sorry. G. G.
Right.
Sorry. I
I
was going French. I was going French on you, but that's okay.
Oh, that's embarrassing. On my on my charging a few weeks ago, I had a message come up that said car will charge at long hour format. What does that mean?
Never seen that before.
Ooh.
No, I saw that. I saw the same thing. It's a glitch. It must be a glitch. It's just a silly statement. It's not.
It's actually done it twice.
Yep.
So it doesn't mean anything.
No.
It doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay. We'll go back to French something or other.
Yeah. long hour format sounds like a date formatting thing, like as in you're formatting a cell in Excel or something. But
car will charge at long hour format, and it's in uppercase, all of it. So
I
read loudly.
Sorry, Pete. I had Peter. I had exactly the same thing. I picked up my Y on the 2nd, and it kept coming up with exactly the same phrase, long hour format, and it looked like a string of some script in the code buried into the app that could not interpret what it was meant to do. And then I did the update, and it fixed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, there was an update a couple of days ago.
Yeah. I did the update and it fixed it.
Yeah,
hopefully it won't come on again. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think we spoke. I've got another question. Sorry, just another quick one.
Yes, go, Peter.
Driving along, cruise control, happy along the freeway, and we're coming at doing 100 k's an hour. Slows down to 80, and the car slows down to 80. Come to 100 k zone, and it goes. I think it goes up or down. I can't remember. But it's different to the actual maximum speed. And I know that you can reach over and touch the the actual speed button, for want of a better word. But it's a pain in the ass.
It's actually
constantly doing it.
It's actually an autopilot setting. So if you go in the autopilot menu, there's two options. You can do current speed, or actually, Harold, are you able to? How quickly can you?
I actually tried that. Yeah.
Oh, you have
I
tried
actually
it?
did go in and tried it. Now
Okay.
I tried it while I was driving, so I don't know. Well, I didn't. My wife did. Whether it needs to stop, or be in park, whatever, or start, I don't know.
If it has to be in park, it won't actually let you do it while you're driving. So if it let you do it, then you must be able to do it while you're driving. Yeah, there are some things like the hold mode and the I forget the names, but basically the single pedal driving and the neutral mode and the mimicking of the automatic mode that you have.
It actually does tell you, I think.
Yeah,
it does come out and say you need to be in park to do this.
Yeah,
but yeah, I actually tried that while we were driving. It was just driving down south, and it didn't make any difference. Maybe I'll try it again and just see. Because I just found the easiest way was to actually spin the little toggle wheel up or down to make it the maximum.
You can actually press. You can actually hit the speed limit button on your screen.
Yeah, but when you're doing 110k. And you've got eyes like mine.
No. So Peter, there's another thing you can do. You can pull down and hold momentarily the right-hand stalk downwards. Yeah. So that's the other way of getting your car to change its speed to the indicated speed limit.
And you don't. So you don't have to go past the 10. You can just rest it on that first bit of resistance, and that's enough. So just a short press. But you just keep it there for a couple of seconds.
Okay. Good one.
Now, for those that had heard previously about the long hour format, James has just put this up, and this is what the app actually showed. And yeah, that's just saying it doesn't know what that is, and it's just explaining what the format is. So that sounds like it's mixing up scheduled charging, or it'll be. Yeah, it's like it's mixed it up as a scheduled charge.
The good news is it fixed it now.
Yeah, so there's a software update that came a couple of days ago. Now, something that also came a couple of days ago is 349 Model 3s and Model Ys to Fremantle. So if you've got a car that you're getting in the next couple of weeks, it'll be one of these. And if you've got a black one, it could even be this lonely 349th at the very end of the queue, because there's 21 by, I forget how many rows there are now, I forgot the count. But there are 349 cars that are going to be delivered before the end of this month.
Have you done the split count, Harold?
No, because if you have a look closely, you can do it. Actually, it's not that hard. If Model 3s have got a light boot, and the Model Ys have got a dark boot glass, you could say. So if someone's keen, the club did post it up on Twitter, and if someone wants to knock themselves out, well, good on them. But for example, in this first row there are 4 Model Ys, and the rest are Model 3s. That's the easiest way to tell in this kind of photo of Model 3s and Ys. And you can see the color. It's, most are, the most common is white.
Vibration. Was that, there was a vibration just then, or is Nat having a shower? Oh, I don't know. It doesn't sound as bad now.
I don't know what it was. The solar panels on the building behind the cars.
Yes. Yeah, they are pretty cool. And I've also, if I just go to the Twitter handle, there's actually, I got an oblique image as well, which, sorry, I just got to go into Twitter.
Doing that, Harold, my Model Y long range is due to birth tomorrow. So there's going to be another stack
Well, it's
of
having a baby.
Teslas coming in.
Yes, it's going to get out of control. Which is hence, sorry, I forget who it was that said that their car was coming on the second week of July. So that's why, because that'll be that car coming in. So did you say tomorrow, Steve?
22nd, it's due to dock at 10:37 p.m. tomorrow night, according to Mollace.
Oh, okay, yeah, cool. So I'll stick the drone up Friday afternoon because there's no point any time before then because it needs time to clear. Okay,
Delivery window is 28 June to about the middle of July, so we'll see what the delivery ends up being.
Yep.
Cool.
So this is the other sort of oblique image showing all the cars, and there's all the panels on the. This is actually the passenger terminal. So there are no passenger ships in at the moment. And the other thing too is you can imagine if your car was say towards the back of this line, the cars can only leave from the front. They always get driven forwards. So this row will go first, follow, on and on. So obviously in the scheduling, if your car randomly happens to be towards the back, then that will get shuffled towards a longer waiting time for a delivery. But the thing is, Tesla can deliver, about 50 cars a day relatively easily. So those 349 cars can be done in 7 days, 7 working days. And Tesla does open, the delivery center is open on Saturdays.
So Harold, my delivery has finally updated to July, August. Is mine likely to be there or still maybe not even built?
Have a look if you've got a VIN mark.
I'm not sure how to do that.
Okay,
or
so
the final
what
invoice sent to you.
I haven't got one of those yet either.
No, so the final invoice comes a bit later, but if you want to look for a hidden VIN, apart from looking online and getting VIN finders and all this sort of stuff, you just go into your Tesla account on your computer and you right click on, you go to where it shows your car and it'll show something like, you've probably already told them what your address details are for registration and things like that. And then there will be steps that'll say, we'll contact you with, final payment requests and blah, blah. If you find a bit of white space on that page that shows your car as an order, right click and on your browser and go show view page source, and that'll show you the HTML source code that made up that page. And then if you just do a text find, and I think the easiest would just be just look up LRW. You could look up the letters VIN for VIN, but just look up LRW, and if it comes up, that will be your VIN. And if a VIN has been allocated, then you're a lot more likely to have had the car built. More likely.
LRW,
I'll try that.
First 3 letters of the VIN, which basically tell you that the car's been built in Shanghai.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's right. So LRW is the first 3 letters of every new Australian Tesla.
The Fremont cars were 5YJ.
Yep. So that's the easiest way, Mark, is just to do that. And if you do find it, then happy days. And in fact, what you can do is then look up a web page called Mollace, MOLACE. They're a transport company. And once you have the VIN, you can search on their system for that VIN, and it will tell you if it's on a boat or booked in to be shipped. And it'll even tell you what that ship is, and then you can always track it, and it'll tell you when it's due to arrive in Perth. but you need to have your VIN first.
Okay, great. Thanks very much.
No worries.
Cool.
Alrighty. So yeah, has anyone else got any other questions or comments?
I was pretty excited to see the Cybertruck in New Zealand.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it's a very crappy photo of it. Well, it was actually a video, but yeah, I remember someone actually told me, because I was kind of distracted that morning, and they said, you know, Cybertruck in New Zealand, and it's like I hadn't even cottoned on, and I was like, what? But yeah, winter testing.
I know.
And it's super funny when you see comments on Twitter where some people go, oh, duh, but it's summer. And it's like, yeah, it is in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, I thought it was
Anyway.
going to be up for a couple of grand if it came to Australia.
It's
sorry.
Can
Can we just get back to that subject just in a sec? Something that Emma's just showed me. So there's a Playdates cafe in the Carrying Shopping Centre.
It's going to be open.
That's going to be opening soon. Has like a little land. Oh, you probably can't even see it. Hang on, let me just turn my my settings off. No,
Hey, Harold,
there we go.
spotlight Richard for a second.
yes, I am, Pete. I am doing it now.
Oh, there's like a little town, and don't know if you can see it, but there's actually like little mini Tesla superchargers.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
in Carrying Up Shopping Centre.
Wow.
Cool as
That's
that.
so cool.
Of course, I'm never going to see that. Of course, Emma is. Sorry, get back to New Zealand Cybertruck. That's awesome too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they've called it Telsa superchargers.
Telsa.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
of course
yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
Of course I have.
We definitely don't know what it is.
Well, actually, Richard, something that you'd be interested in, sort of, is the fact that Rivian. I just didn't put it in the news because if I put in the news every single car manufacturer that's accepting the North American charging standard, well, it would just be a weekly news item. But yeah, so Rivian has committed to selling all new cars from 2025 with the connector built in, and from I think they say spring next year in the Northern Hemisphere, so our autumn, they'll have adapters to use the 12,000 odd version 3 superchargers.
And they said that they're going to continue as well with their adventure network. So I wonder if, you know, they're more likely to expand that. And I wonder if that, you know, it would make complete sense that especially that all the new ones on the adventure network are on the next standard. So which would presumably mean that Teslas can charge on those chargers as well.
Possibly, yes. And I think there was some talk that it would be logical, since Rivian's bent is mainly for adventure driving and four-wheel driving, for those to be out in remote areas. And yeah, that'd be great for Teslas to be able to use the same thing, and Cybertrucks for that matter. And as far as the charging news goes, of course, Hyundai has stated that they are looking into the NACS, but they did note that they have 800-volt battery architecture, and currently the official voltage for version 3 superchargers is limited to 500 volts. But that's probably a minor change for Tesla to upgrade that, because on those 800-volt packs, if you charge them at 400 volts, most of them can be charged at 400, but they usually cap out at about 50 kilowatts because they actually use their onboard inverters to transform the voltage up to the 800 volts the pack needs. But so that's Hyundai. I think it was Mercedes has also declared they're looking at it. And there was someone else as well.
Texas as a state has now mandated that if you're getting the state funding for your network, then at least one has to be NACS and the other has to be CCS. So
and you get a shot. with every Rivian. I think it's an AR16, I believe, with every Rivian. So it's a little.
Well,
lighter.
it's good to see that Texas has bitten the bullet and said that you've got to have one of either nozzle, which is really interesting because that's the first state to actually mandate it for that funding. That it has one NACS and one CCS. Alrighty. Oh, welcome, Carmen. Sorry, you came in while we were talking.
That's all right.
So in the news earlier, we had that Tesla had its 13-day winning streak from about 100 and I forget what it was now, $180 something to 250.
Oh, really? Oh, I missed that.
But
been a bit busy.
But it's actually, I mean, currently
5.4% last night.
Well,
even though it was down 2%.
274, 274.45.
That's right. So Tesla is it closed last night, just as this page refreshes, at $274.45, and its pre-open is at $275 and a bit. So it's
awesome.
looking quite nice at the moment.
Positive. I will have to tell my stockbroker.
Yes. Well, that's right, because you tell your stockbroker that it's a buying opportunity, which, having said that, it's appropriate to say this.
The previous comments were general in nature and shouldn't be taken as personal professional advice. Listeners should seek their own independent assessment from a qualified advisor and not rely on the general nature of information in this program.
But on the other hand, it's still a great company, as we all know.
It's awesome. Never mind. We hope it keeps going. Alex, you look very tired. Where are you?
You're on mute, buddy.
You're on mute,
buddy.
Alex.
Alex, you're on mute.
Charges.
Yes, he's actually camped out at the Lancelin supercharger, which looks like it's going to be ready in the next, I don't know, few weeks, a couple of weeks, perhaps.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh, you got
That's
to play
exactly.
that for a while, Harold.
Alex,
Meet Grammarly Go, your go-to solution for getting quality work done quickly.
Oh no!
That's AI.
Skip ahead.
Take it over. 2 weeks. We get a GoFundMe page to get him a new computer.
That's
Alex Australia. You're on mute.
Harold's gone offline.
Harold's gone offline. Alex is on mute. All right, Pete, step up to the plate. Take over the show.
now we can hear you.
Harold's back now. He's not happy.
That was terrible. Sorry about that. Oh man, because I reinstalled OBS, it has an embedded web browser, and the way I get the 2 weeks is you got to do it through YouTube, and of course YouTube must have logged me out, so I get YouTube Premium, so I don't have stupid ads like that. And just since Grammarly insulted all of us, I suggest you don't use it. It's a crap app. It's expensive. Use ChatGPT instead. Anyway, 2 weeks.
4.0.
Well, yes, that's right. 4.0. Sorry about that. I'll have to fix it. I can't do the 2 weeks because I'll have to fix that next time. Anyway.
Awesome.
But yeah, a couple of weeks we'll have Lancelin.
Well, look after yourself. You should be glamping, not just camping.
Where are you, Alex? You at Mandurah?
I'm in Mandurah. I'm in a little home office.
Okay.
That's
tinkering away. Yep.
Good evening, Mr. Jarrett.
Good evening, Carmen. How are you?
Very good. Very good. I wanted to ask you about the Taylor Swift concert.
How many people have asked me that question today? If I had 20 cents for every person that's asked me about Taylor Swift today, I'd be just over a million, I reckon.
Okay.
Yeah, quite a few people. What was the question?
Tay's not coming, Jared. It's
Well-
just like
No,
2 in Melbourne,
well-
3 in Sydney.
Yeah, I can't comment on that at the moment.
There is gossip.
I'd like to comment, but I can't comment on that at the
There's
moment.
gossip that Optus Stadium's booked out though.
Well, like I said, I'd like to comment, but I can't comment.
That's what I heard.
Sounds like Harold.
Generally, when people make conversation about something changes.
Yes.
It happens.
Did you know, Jared,
And-
that when you say don't comment, that's actually a comment?
Well, that's true. No comment.
Yeah.
Comment on
And
comment.
the TV this morning said that they won't come into Perth because of the cost of transporting their
Correct.
huge stage and
Yeah, it's a
production.
massive. What her setup is a massive setup. It's probably the biggest setup in the world at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah.
I went the last time she came.
Yeah, it's twice the size of that setup. It's
She needs to get some Teslas.
It's something around the 180 truck compartment. You know, so she's got like 360 crew, 180 trucks.
Unbelievable.
It's out of control. The show.
So is it bigger? Is it bigger than the Adele concert that
Yeah,
was in
twice
Perth?
the size. Twice the size.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Twice the size of the Adele concert.
Okay, I got it. It's just that my daughter and my granddaughter.
She plays for
wants me to
3.5
take them.
hours, Carmen.
Sorry?
She plays for 3.5 hours.
Okay,
So she's on stage for three.
that's big time, yeah.
That's a long time. Yeah.
It's
That's
a
lot of
long
costume
time.
changes, a lot of visuals that have to be updated. Everything has to be keep moving along. It's a very full-on show. Yeah. So
She'll be
Jump on the
exhausted
plane,
before she
Carmen.
gets there.
Have a holiday in Melbourne or Sydney and have a bit of a.
Well, that was the
weekend of
idea.
it.
That was the
If
idea.
I was going to go see Taylor Swift, which I'm not, but if I was going to, then I would go to Singapore. She's going to be doing about 6 shows in Singapore. Coldplay just announced their 6th show. They've just done their 6th show in Singapore. That's for next year, and I think they'll end up doing 8. You know what I mean? So you know, I would go to Singapore, go see the show there. Don't have to go to Melbourne. Don't have to go to Sydney. So, but yeah, it is a very big show. So, I'm not saying if it wouldn't come to Perth or not, but I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, Pink is slotted in the same time frame to come in around that same time frame. So unless she came earlier, which I think she's somewhere else earlier, I doubt whether they're going to change that. So I don't know. So there you go.
Interesting.
I thought Coldplay would have done 6 shows in Perth.
Yes.
But, the government only paid for 2. So
And they don't want to announce how much it costs taxpayers.
no, they don't want to say it was hotel. Awesome. But you know, it's going to bring a lot of money into Perth. I mean, you know, everyone's having to fly to Perth.
Yep.
So that's a big show too. That's another huge, big production.
Yeah.
Not as big as that, not as big as Taylor Swift, but it's big.
Yeah.
It's still and
All right.
they've got their costs, the ticket prices are so high because everything has to be air freighted. None of it's coming in by truck or sea. It's all air freight. So if you look at the dates of where they're playing overseas and then where they're playing Australia, they've got to air freight it. And so you're talking about cargo, 747 cargo planes flying around. So it gets really, really expensive. The Antonov's not available anymore because Russia blew that up. So the Antonov that used to do a lot of cargo stuff, which was the cheapest way, now that that's gone, they have to use cargo 747. So
That doesn't make sense.
no, it doesn't. No, it's expensive.
That's crazy.
So
That was
Well, the
here.
thing is, so go on, Pete.
Just saying the Antonov was in Perth a few years ago.
It's been
Yeah, I'm
here-
just actually trying to find. I'm just trying to find the.
Came with the generator for Chevron, I think it was, or BHP. The last time it came.
Harold,
Melbourne.
just look
Sydney.
at your Amex. Amex sent a message today to all holders about pre-sales. And my
Just
daughter.
don't try and come and don't buy anything from those dodgy websites.
No. My
Just
daughter rang me
Thank you.
and my granddaughter, and it came through Amex card as pre-sales.
That's right. It was announced last night at midnight.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Everyone's
But it's a good idea that you mention now I will actually ask my daughter where would she rather go, and see Singapore, because she
I've
hasn't been
been
there
to
either.
Singapore 10 times over going to Sydney and Melbourne. You know?
Okay.
It's much nicer. It's 5 hours up the road. It's actually an hour up the road on the plane, but it's a much more nicer trip. You know, you do more in
Yes,
Singapore.
and they haven't been there either. So, where is it held in Singapore?
National Stadium.
Oh, sorry,
The National Stadium. It's one
National
of the big
Stadium. I'll look into that actually. I'll write it down. National Stadium. Okay.
Which is a great stadium, great venue. I don't know how they get 6 shows, 7 shows in Singapore. I think the government might be saying, you know, can you help us out a bit?
Yep.
Surprise me. No. 2 shows in Perth and 6 shows in Singapore.
Yeah.
That's going to have that generator on board.
Massive plane.
It's up there, that doesn't exist anymore.
Plane? It's sad.
I believe that Antonov was just bringing Jared gratuities for a concert that he was doing.
It was. It was just bringing It was just bringing brown bags.
Brown bags of Verve Clicquot or something, pallets of it.
That's it. It's really sad that they blew that plane up.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Very, very sad. It didn't
And
come
it's-
to Perth. Only once, I think, it came to Perth, but at Sydney and Melbourne, it went all the time. But yeah, I think it was only once it came to Perth that I'm aware of. So,
Yeah, I might have been a couple of times, to be honest, because
I only knew
that
of it
footage
that
the
once.
footage there was in 2016. I think it's been there sort of in 2017 or 18, but could be wrong. Could be wrong. Alrighty, so yeah, so Carmen's off to Melbourne and Sydney and Singapore. I believe you can get a bit of a round trip.
One of them. I do have a 60th to go to in New Zealand, so I thought Sydney.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Maybe the Simon there, Carmen.
At same time.
Exactly.
Well, something that you might also see are some skid marks along a highway on the eastern seaboard, which Channel 7 very responsibly reported.
Skid marks.
It's amazing what you see on TV these days, and it goes something like this.
Stopping videos emerged of an out-of-control Tesla that came barrelling down the wrong side of the southeastern freeway.
A passenger in an oncoming vehicle's told 7 News if it wasn't for her quick-thinking driver, they'd all be dead.
A Sunday drive on the southeastern freeway turns into a terrifying tailspin. At the wheel of the white Tesla, a 70-year-old man, police say.
Did you notice that
it's already
the guy,
fucked up.
they said he had to, like, his last minute thinking, split second thinking saved it, but he was actually veering towards the right, which is actually closer to the car. If he just gone to the left,
Yeah.
he would have been so far away from it, wouldn't have been funny.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just put it back on, and
Yeah, that was pretty sad. That was.
well, and the thing is,
say had suffered a medical episode. He seemingly came out of nowhere, barreling straight into the path of oncoming traffic.
He was out of control, half a second faster, and would easily.
Well, I love how they called it Tesla Terror. So
Yeah.
you
It's a
know,
nothing burger.
if it was a Nissan, would you call it? You know, would you call it Nissan something, or you know,
Toyota Terra. What if it was a Toyota or
Yeah,
or
exactly.
you know?
Yeah, yeah. But they had to,
I mean,
had to know.
that yeah. It's the end of normal media.
Yeah, look, you know,
That's why I
we
don't
all
do
see it
the
before.
news.
It's just the media hyping it up. Story.
Yeah.
Dramatizing.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because there were probably 30 other near misses, probably 100 other near misses in Australia that weren't Teslas, and none of those made the news. In fact, I dare say there were sadly, probably 10 fatalities that didn't make that news segment
And
that are much
and
more
there's
important to
probably
report on.
and there's probably a few of those that were captured on dashcam as well that never made
Precisely.
it.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Good on you, Channel 7 and the Eastern States for reporting that for no particular reason. Apropos of nothing.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Tesla hasn't quite yet opened yet, so we can't really get excited about the share price yet. But any other bits of news? We obviously got the really good report. I'll get the original press release from Neoen, because it's really funny when you see certain, like people like Teslarati, when they report that Renew Economy said, and it's like, yeah, Renew Economy said everything from the actual press release. But as we said in the news, it's interesting they report it. They've been given a contract for 197 megawatts for 4 hours, but they're actually installing 219 megawatts for 4 hours. So hence I think it was 244 Megapack 2 XL units, which are the only Megapacks that Tesla are now selling. And the great thing is that they've got licensing to install the full gigawatt and 4 gigawatt hours of battery storage. And I think that's going to make WA, it's certainly going to be the biggest in Australia. And it's going to be up there to be one of the biggest in the world, if not probably the biggest at this stage.
What's the relevance of the 4 hour? I don't quite understand.
So
in that term, in those terms.
Just
so that's the first
7 megawatt hours, sorry, gigawatt hours, and divided by the what was it, Harold, 219. So
so how many hours it can output at peak?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it can output 197 megawatts continually for 4 hours, and that's Neoen's first. I think it says somewhere. Here we go. The battery is Neoen's first major project in WA, and will also be its first 4 hour long duration battery globally.
Okay.
So I don't know. I presume there are other global battery storage locations that have 4 hour capacity, but often it's like the Hornsdale Power Reserve only has, I think it's 2 hour capacity, or 1 hour, 1 or 2 hour. And that's usually because it's only for very short term arbitrage and grid stability. Yeah, exactly. Yep. But in the case of WA, of course, we're replacing the Collie coal fired power station at Muja.
Yeah, right.
And
that's bigger. Yeah, that's
it's big. So when you want to overcome the duck curve, you've really got to do it for several hours. And the whole point is it's going to soak up the solar at between 11 and 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. or thereabouts, when it's at its worst, when you've got the net demand will go down to as little as 500 megawatts, which is that danger zone of grid instability. So it'll stabilize that and then deliver it at the other end at 5:30, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, depending on the season. So
wow, okay, that's even bigger news than I thought. Yeah, that's brilliant.
So one thing we don't know that's not clear is this part of the state government funding commitment that Minister Johnston announced a couple of months ago? Or is this Neoen as a pure private enterprise getting a separate license from AEMO, which are quasi-separate from the government, which is separate from the government, sorry. And Neoen is just deciding to do this investment on their own bat because they can see they're going to make money out of it. Because this is not the Synergy big battery in Kwinana, because that's actually being supplied by CATL.
Yeah, because the Synergy fellow, was it the CEO, was mentioning about a second big battery as well, like 2025 and 2029.
There's going to be stage 2 at Kwinana, and there's going to be a second project at Collie.
Yeah.
But what we don't know is that, you see, because it says the Australian Energy Market Operator has awarded Neoen, it's a 4-hour capacity services contract. And in fact, further down, it actually says that contract is for 2 years. And that's to, sorry, I should have, here we go.
Oh, no.
The AEMO non-co-optimized essential systems services contract will run for a period of 2 years. So that doesn't sound like that's the state government project. So what could be awesome is if Synergy builds their own, and I forget what that was. That was 1 gigawatt hour, perhaps. It was pretty big.
Yeah.
And perhaps Neoen's thing is actually completely separate. Sorry, and then Scott, it's Western Power for placing their trust. Yeah, right. So Scott's just mentioning that, yes, it did say that Louis de Sambusi, did thank Western Power and the WA government for placing their trust in us. So that's just here. So yeah, I don't know if that means it is part of that funding, part of that project. But anyway, I mean, the main thing is we're going to get a very big battery, and that's really awesome for renewables and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing how far we've come in the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of a whole paradigm shift, isn't it? And actually, there's a website, thanks, Chris, called colliebattery.com.au.
Hey.
Unfortunately, of course, this image is wrong because these are not megapacks. But anyway, Neoen themselves actually put that on their own press release, so it's kind of their fault. But it's going to take too long to read all of that. But anyway. It's certainly going to be Australia's biggest battery, for sure. And it's awesome that Tesla got it. And that's, by the way, if they do the whole 4 gigawatt hour capacity, that's roughly 1,022 megapacks. That's just over 10% of one of the megapack factories that Tesla has. It's a bit over 10% of an annual production at nameplate production, because each factory can do 10,000 megapacks per annum, and that there's one in Singapore. There's one in Shanghai, and there's also one at Lathrop. Yeah, I think so, or at Giga Nevada. One of the at Lathrop, so they'll be able to do 30 gigawatt hours per annum each.
Harold, any dates on that press release? Because this is going to be years away. This is going to be 2-3 years away before it's commissioned.
No, the commissioning was the end of 2024. So
it was October.
Not bad.
Yeah, here we go.
They've
got a contract for 2 years from the 1st of October 2024.
Yeah, right.
So that's when it will have to be commissioned, because that's contractually when they're probably obliged, which makes sense because that's in the impending summer. Oh, well, actually the middle of that spring, really. So that's when you sort of need it the most.
The hot season on the Swiss starts on the 1st of December, so they're giving themselves a bit of a
breather.
Yeah, buffer.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's pretty cool. I mean, that's something I think most of us have been calling for is, you know, the way you solve
For
renewable
5 years.
energy. Yeah. Yep. The way you solve renewable energy is just more and more batteries. You know, if you had an unlimited battery supply, you could ride through anything. And this is the start.
And how quick, like installation and stuff like that. You're doing something equivalent, it'd be 10 years, you know?
Well, the thing is with the Megapack XLs, they're just basically large sea containers. So you just plonk them onto concrete pads.
I thought Tesla had something like a 2-year backlog on the Excel Megapacks. So I'm surprised they're getting, unless Neon already had some up their sleeve.
Yeah, they did. So it says here that the project which Neoen originated in 2021 received development approval in December 2022. They also did mention somewhere else that they've already told Tesla about it. They've already given Tesla the go-ahead, and that was done last year, I think.
Okay, so that makes sense.
I'm not sure. It was somewhere. It was mentioned somewhere else. I did read it that they'd already given Tesla the go-ahead, and that was last year.
Yeah. Okay.
I just can't see it right now. Oh, Neoen has provided notices. Here we go. Neoen has provided notices to proceed to Tesla and construction contractor UGL. And it's expected to be operational in Q4 2024. So given that they were already interested in the project originating in 2021, they would already have put an option to Tesla. And in fact, if you go to Tesla's website, the cool thing is, once I load it up, it doesn't actually apply to Australia because you can't actually see their, if you go to commercial energy on the US website,
you can put down a deposit for a battery if you want.
That's precisely right. So if we want to order now, we can order, I think it was 244 for 4 hours, 244 megapacks. Once this refreshes, because that's got to change there, and this website is super duper slow. Sorry about that. But basically, you can just put down $1,000 US on a deposit. And that number's actually wrong because it goes, here we go.
It did just up.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyway, so that's $425 million. But you can also not do installation, so it does not include installation, and you get it cheaper. Sorry, it was 224. Sorry, 224. Yeah, that's right. $354 million US. But you only have to pay down $1,000 as a non-refundable reservation deposit. But then they do say that that's for Q1 2025. So they're booked out until then.
Yeah,
which
so
makes sense.
I was going off that time frame. So yeah. As you said, they must have up their sleeve.
But look, I dare say if Neoen has got approval for the extra 3 gigawatt hours, it's probably already put a reservation in for that as well.
Yeah.
So big news for WA, for sure. Alrighty, so has anyone else got any other questions or comments or any other bits of news? We've done this. Sorry?
It dropped a little bit. Went up and down.
Yeah, Tesla's share price is roughly it's about to tip under, I think. or it's just wavering on yesterday's price, up 0.19%. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Bit of news. Tesla Model Y was the second most popular car in the US after the F-150.
Jesus.
Yes. And really,
That's
it's
huge,
this
yes.
year, it's going to be the number one global car of any kind, vehicle of any kind by the end of this year. And I think, Pete, that's basically what we pretty much predicted last year.
Yep. Well, and that's just taking a clue from Elon's prediction. So, yeah, that's what he's been saying for a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's sort of selling the Model 3 about 3 to 1.
Yeah, and he said the Model Y would sell more units than the Model 3, the S, and the X combined. And it's done it by, like you said, by multiple of 3. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, for anyone that's bought themselves a Model Y or is going to, congratulations, you've just bought yourself a Commodore or a Falcon, really, in Australia, because that's what they're going to be, as common as those used to be.
Yep.
I know. I've got Tesla Tourette's, I call it. Because when I go for a drive, I'm going, oh, Model Y, Model 3, Model Y, Model 3.
It's getting out of hand.
I have the Tesla Donny door, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, we'll have to find an affluent term for a Tesla. I guess we've got time, don't we? We definitely got time. I mean, at least we know what to call all the white Model Ys and 3s, because there's nothing as good looking as poverty pearl white.
I agree, Harold.
So, Carmen, did you take your sister to look at the Model Y?
Oh, it's got very confusing. So
it's simple. Just buy it.
Just buy the bloody thing.
Well, that little Picanto thing is a bit too small. I don't think the boys will like that. And my brother's an auto electrician, and he's in. He said, buy a Toyota Corolla or a Mazda, and if you go outside of those, get Korean or Japanese cars as a second hand. And I went to have a look at a couple. So there are some that I like better, and they're a little bit more expensive, but I think will work. But the salesmen keep talking me into not buying manual, because he's saying that they're not being made anymore. You don't need them for anything. If you want to drive a truck, you actually have to get a truck license, and most trucks are all electronic anyway, and it's a totally different thing to the old manual cars. So we're trying to evaluate all of that. It makes sense, and I've asked the parents as well. They're of the opinion that a manual would be good, because we've all grown up thinking that. But I'm wondering whether there is new thinking about all this moving forward, and will we be able to get parts for the next 10 years?
Still plenty of manual vehicles on mine sites. They're everywhere.
Is it? Oh, well, that makes it different.
I mean, look, that's going to change in the next 5 to 10 years. So maybe, but
yeah, but I only want it for the next 10 years. After that, I don't think it'll exist anymore by the time 8 grandkids have driven it. So I'd figure that I've done very well if it lasts that long, and that'll be the end of it.
Exactly. So Carmen, I mean, one question I would have asked the salesman is, do you have any manual cars in stock? Because if he doesn't, then he's not going to sell you one, and he's going to try and tell you to buy something that he does have in stock. Just putting that out loud.
They did have some. They did have some.
Oh, okay. So don't forget your reasoning behind this, and look, there's no doubt that your grandkids will be the absolute last generation that would ever touch a manual car, except for one in a museum. But
it's a good experience. Yeah.
it's a great experience. And it's a skill that it takes a bit of effort to pick up, but once you know it, it's like riding a bicycle, you never forget.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's something that
Well,
they can keep in their back pocket.
Yeah. Well,
You know.
I drive manual and I had to move a car a couple of years ago and I just did it. It wasn't a problem.
And that was the thing I heard. I forget what it was on the ABC radio or something like that. There was a there were a couple of policemen, police that had to move a car. Perhaps it was because someone was in a booze bus or whatever, and they realised that they weren't licensed to move that car because it was a manual and they had automatic licenses, because all the police cars are automatics. So, but they knew that technically they were not permitted to touch that car. So that's just one little minor example. But actually, Carmen, I did see, and it was courtesy, I found this out courtesy of Rob Dean tweeting it, but allegedly Toyota is to debut an electric car with a manual transmission. Which just goes to show how stupid, profoundly, I shouldn't say bad words, but profoundly stupid Toyota really, really is. It's just from sublime to ridiculous.
Yeah, because I think Rob Mara had mentioned it like it was an emulator, so it wasn't even like a real transmission. So you're just going, I don't know.
I think it's everything's a trend at the moment back to the 60s. The kids are buying secondhand clothes, records, all the stuff we got rid of because they haven't heard of it and it's a revival and it's trendy.
Well, this is another one in the Lexus UX 300e. Apparently, Toyota. You've got a knob that you can change your EV to either feel like a 4-cylinder car or a V8, which is really awesome. So you've got the characteristics of a 4-cylinder petrol engine or a V8. And it's like, wow, my performance car could never go as slow as a V8.
Yeah, I know.
It's like buying an iPhone and having an app that lets you use it like a Nokia. I mean, why would you? What's the point?
Back to the future. Yeah. Look, I think they're all just trendy things. I'm still sticking with my original idea for the original reason. And the parents have all given me the sanction, all saying, not necessary, but if the car is there, we would appreciate it and use it. So I'm still going ahead with that. I think I'll get something a little bit bigger, maybe a hatchback or a Yaris or one of those Corolla.
The only thing, the only thing to bear in mind is kind of the smaller, within reason, the smaller the car is, it'll be easier for doing parallel parking into standard bays. I mean, for my sins, when I was a kid, I had to learn in a bloody Volvo station wagon. I mean, at least you could see every corner of the car, but still. So smaller.
I had to do it in my dad's Ford Falcon.
Wow. Well, you learn how to, and that wouldn't have had power steering.
When he passed me. When he passed me, I kissed the policeman. I was so happy.
Yes.
Right on my birthday, and I wanted to get it right there and then. And it wasn't it. But I think the kids nowadays will go with the instructor. So my idea is to get them to do the hours in my car, but go with the instructor for the test.
Yes. You need to get the instructor to unlearn some of the bad habits that their parents would have taught them, because we all have things that we sort of do that's not quite right. And and I've learned, I've put three of my kids through this Hyundai i20 manual car, and my wife put her kid in, and even Ken Taylor actually put one of his kids through it as well. But you do learn, there's things you just forget, or, you know, little minutiae that you can get criticised on. And then that's great for the instructors to take that.
Push and pull the steering wheel, Harold.
Yeah, push and pull.
That's
I've
not
Yes.
the worst habit they can
been
learn.
advised not to do it in the western suburbs, not to go to the examiners in the western suburbs. Preferably do it when you're on holidays away in the country.
Well, don't go to Mirrabooka. That's my personal opinion. One of my kids failed 3 times there, and one of them basically, he invented a reason to fail because when my kid objected, because he actually, there were 2 lanes of traffic each way, and there was an island in the middle, and he was accused of inconveniencing someone else coming the other way, turning in the other direction in that middle island. And my kid goes, but that's where you go. And I was entitled to go there. And then the guy goes, oh yeah, fair enough, but got him on something else. I got him on going too quickly over a speed hump.
Yeah.
And it's like, what,
crazy.
You know, yeah.
I, for my
I don't
first
think it would work too well if you say you're from Dalkeith, quite honestly.
for my first test, I had the
So
Terminator.
hang on, Carmen. Just hang on, Carmen. Pete, go, Pete. Go.
Just the story of my first test. So for my first driving test at, I think it was at Warwick, I drew they call him the Terminator, and
Yes.
he would fail you if he would find a reason to fail you if you didn't have any lessons with any of them. So I went for my first test without any lessons, and I was driving along one of the main roads, it might have been Warwick Road, and there was grassland for about 20 metres, and he'd put out a little workman sign about 20 metres away from the road, and everyone's going 70, so I'm going 70, and he says to me, why are you going so fast? And I said, well, I'm going 70, that's the speed limit. And he said, that's not the speed limit. And I said, well, what is it then? And he said, well, didn't you see the workman sign? I said, what, the one that was about 20 metres away from the road? And he said, yes, when you see a workman sign, you've got to slow down to 40. So that was one. And the other one, through a stop sign, he said to me, oh, why didn't you stop on the stop sign? And I said, I did. I waited there for like 2 seconds. And he said, no, you didn't. You stopped a metre before the stop line. You did not stop on the stop line. And then you drove through the stop line. You did not stop on the stop line. So those were the 2 things that really got me on. So I went and took a lesson and then passed the next one without any problems whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah.
They want you to do at least 1 lesson with them, basically.
Yeah,
Or
amazing. Well, all the Christchurch grammar kids are saying they're all failed.
Right.
Yeah. Automatically.
It's just out of control. But look, Carmen, I think it's a great thing. You know, maybe your kids will moan about, your grandies will moan about it, but it'll be one skill that they'll have for the rest of their lives. They might not use it much, but so what? It doesn't take all that much extra effort in getting a driver's license anyway. So,
100%.
And after 10 years, you can just sell it for. It'll have dings in it. It'll have. It doesn't matter. It's been well used, and you know.
It won't matter. I think the last one to use it might be allowed to keep it.
If they want to stoop so low, they would have had a Model 2 Tesla by then or something, whatever comes out.
Well, no. Some of them, some of the parents are not that flash. So I don't think so.
That's right. But no doubt you go, Pete.
No, you go, Harold.
I was going to say, but no doubt you love them equally, Carmen. So.
Of course, yeah.
So go, Pete.
So a bit of news. If you look in your App Store, your Google Play Store, you can update your Tesla app now to 4.22, and it's got a new feature in it, which is an updated trip planner. So if you just go into location and then press navigate, and you can set like the battery percentage that you expect to have when you leave, and it will tell you where you need to charge on. It will tell you how much you'll have when you get there. So basically, replicates what you have on your screen in the car.
Okay. Well, I hope that my contacts, I was getting the calendar syncing, but for some reason, after the last update, the calendar stopped syncing and the radio had trouble working. So hopefully this one works.
But so, yeah, well, that's hopefully it will. So Pete, what are you saying? So if I navigate somewhere,
so go into location.
Yep.
And then press on navigate.
Yep.
In the app.
Yep.
And then so once you're in, hang on, let me do it.
I'll go. So I'll go Lancelin.
Once you put in location,
and the car location, and I've got 90% battery percentage.
And see where you can in blue it says set battery percentage on the car location.
Yes. Oh, and it's saying I'll get there with 55%. Ah.
Yeah, but you can change your departing percentage, and then it will change, obviously adjust for how much you'll have when you get there.
If I say 50%, it'll then, well, that was strange. It now says I have 13%. Okay, so if I then change that to 30%, it'll say 19.
You've put in too little a percentage, put in 80% or something.
Yeah. No, it said that I'd arrive at the, I said that I said my charge was 30%. It then said I would be at 21% at the Caranup supercharger, and I would charge there for 11 minutes, and then I'd arrive at Lancelin with 19%. That's very good. That's quite. But can you? What I can't do is I can't tell it to not have charging. In other words,
on the screen you can in the car, but what is it? Is it ignore charges or whatever it says? But
yes, that's right. So I can't do that.
Yeah.
And I also can't set an alternate location. It has to be from where I am now. I can't. Oh, hang on. No, if I edit. Oh yes, Jurien Bay. And update.
I love how everyone's looking down at their app.
Sorry, we're doing very bored YouTube at the moment. That is a bit boring. So if I just spotlight, I just went from
there you go.
Jurien Bay to Lancelin, and it's say I don't think that actually works.
30% battery.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaving at 30%.
Yeah,
so if I just change that set battery to 50%, save.
If Richard Chapman just
yes, then it's saying I'll get to Lancelin at 17% if I leave Jurien Bay at 50. So if I take that to 30%.
Are you just working on how to find the rest of the house? You just going to stay in the carport or not, or is that
is that my happy place?
Is that after Italian holiday you've been kicked out there?
If it's too low, it'll say no superchargers. So that's a bit of a problem.
Harold and Pete, sorry, how do we get to it? Is it through location? Like
yes,
through the location tab.
And you got to be up.
But you need to have updated the app, Richard. Yep.
I thought I had yesterday. So, and then do you just put in navigate?
Yeah,
correct.
Yes.
Weird, because when I do it, say I click on the Margaret River supercharger, it just all it offers me is send a car.
It's amazing.
Oh, you've got an old you've got an old Model X. In fact, it's not even new. Well, it's not. It's a Model X.
Yeah.
And there's something about the older cars don't have the more accurate projection or something. I think so. They can't do it. I think.
What? One thing I did just notice though under service is that there's a vehicle range tab. Oh, can't show you on the screen. There's a vehicle range tab, and it says I can run a detailed analysis, which will take 24 minutes on the vehicle range. Is that something that you guys and girls can all get on the modern 3s and Ys?
Is that on the app or is that?
Yeah, no, it's on the app. I've only just seen it under service as a vehicle range option, and you can run a vehicle range analysis.
It might be there for the SNX because you can't do the SNX through the screen, through the service mode.
Oh, yeah.
So it might have given you the option to do it through the app.
History service.
I'm doing it on the Y, and it's telling my vehicle range is 199, which is coherent to the 50% usage that I did today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
where are you guys finding that? Where do you go after you go into service?
There's a vehicle range option.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have that on the 3 and the Y.
No.
Show you. So here's the one for the S. So I've got. You see, it says vehicle range.
Oh, vehicle range. Yeah, right. Interesting. Yeah, we don't have that line's missing.
I'm running that. In fact, if I go back now to the main screen, it's actually saying it's doing a detailed range analysis.
That's pretty cool.
And it's doing that for both cars now. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Interesting.
Actually, I'll just remove your spotlight and I'll just check something because my wife's car is plugged in. I just wonder if it has to be plugged in because I noticed your car's plugged in, Richard. So service.
But it's only no. The S is plugged in, the X isn't, and they're not charging
gotcha. Yeah, no. I think that's an S and X thing because
it must be.
like Pete said, on our 3s and Ys, you can actually go into the service mode.
Oh,
so you type in
which I couldn't get
service
into.
on the code, and then you get detailed. You can do battery testing and all sorts of stuff, coolant testing and or coolant system test and all that sort of stuff.
Nigel must be overseas because he's up really late. So it must be like 9 o'clock in the morning where he's
still grumpy.
I was actually on at 7:30, but then the internet on board ship was just terrible and everybody froze and it hung and then I've noticed the internet's actually going good. 2 weeks ago I got a cold and I have had a voice like this for 2 weeks. I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm over it, but my voice won't come back. I'm still getting a lot of phlegm.
The women love it.
So I do hope you're all running antivirus software.
Yeah. And it must be bingo.
I did test and I wasn't pregnant.
And the bingo must be really good.
Me too.
On the boat.
Did you check the expiry date of the test?
Oh yeah, would have been telling you put them in.
Yes, it was not until later on this year.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a few colleagues.
It is 2022, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've had a few colleagues that have tested and then checked the expiry date of the test, and then they tested positive with the next test. So really?
There you go.
The test was in.
What's the ship that you're
on? Viking Jupiter.
Right.
Nice.
Is that one of those ones that is it like the little ship that goes down the river?
It's a long ship.
No, it's an ocean going
for adults
ship.
only, no kids.
Oh, it's ocean. Okay.
This one's ocean, but it's for old farts, especially grumpy old farts like me.
Yeah, it'd be a special section, I can imagine.
I think the average age is about 70.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah. Sounds like
very
a fun
good
boat to be on, that one.
What's the weather like, Nigel? Is it what's the temperature? Roughly outside?
About 21.
Oh,
21.
Oh, lovely.
What's the
Very
food
nice.
like? Good food?
The food on the boat is brilliant.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, I just look at it and put on weight. I mean,
Is it all?
it's
Is
just
the
terrible.
buffet thing still? Or they changed all that now? Is it all just shut
No,
down?
there's a buffet. There's a small little restaurant that has nice open sandwiches. There's a pool grill that you can do burgers at. There's an Italian restaurant. There's a special chef's restaurant, which we're going to tonight because it's my wife's birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Oh, happy birthday!
Yeah, she's sitting just there reading.
Happy birthday from WA.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you, Darren.
And what do the old people do on the boat, Nigel? Like, do they have like classes and stuff? Like, do they do anything special? Like, do you do like play courses or, you know, how to clean your
No,
teeth?
I think they're doing macrame. I don't know. We haven't done any of that. But it's just lovely. You can go and sit in the bar, and there's only a dozen people there, and it's so quiet and peaceful.
What was the ship again? Viking.
Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Yes.
Viking.
All
Jupiter.
Viking ships are identical.
Yeah, they're designed for old people.
Grab a granny cruise, Jared. Grab a granny cruise.
Grab a granny cruise.
Hey, I did have to grab a granny. She sat on a chair and missed it right in front of me and went down. So I helped her up.
It's shocking. Absolutely shocking. Jesus. There you go.
It'd be something like this.
Oh, there you go.
You see that, Nigel?
It's
That's
quite
the
a nice ship.
Vikings. Whoops, Viking Sea ship tour.
Yeah.
Oh, Viking
they're
Jupiter.
all the same.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Not. They don't have
Look at
music
that.
that loud, Harold. It's very quieter. Like
Yes, that's right. That's a big ship.
everyone's in bed by
Awesome.
7.
It only has about 950 passengers and about 450 crew.
I'm betting to see who doesn't make the whole cruise.
Look at that. A bit of tuna something. Tuna thing.
Do they chop your food up for you, the little pieces and stuff?
No, I can do that myself.
They don't puree it. There you go. Look at that. That's great. No lawn bowls.
No, they've got a few pools, a few hot tubs. Very nice. And that's a roof that they can open and close over that pool.
Oh yes, very nice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And when it's nice and sunny, it's open.
I'm still
If
back
it
on.
starts to get
Grab a
a
granny.
wrinkly-
Terrible.
and that's at the back, the infinity pool.
That's nice. How long you on it for?
Sorry?
How much longer you got on the boat? How many days?
Oh, we get off tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Was it? Did you do 7?
You know,
or-
it's one of those, you've got to have breakfast by 6 and have your bags out tonight, and then you've got to be off the boat by 8. Even in bloody hotels, it's check out by 11, but no, you've got to be out of here before 8 in the morning. And I'm going, but we're old farts, we don't get up until 9 o'clock.
That's the whole ship, isn't it?
Hey, Harold, can
Yes,
you
Pete.
can you let me share, or alternatively, I'll put this in the.
Yeah, if you can put it in. Sorry, Peter, I had to turn sharing off because the
That's all right.
reason is because you're using an iPad, you have a higher screen resolution than my screen, and then what Zoom does when it converts the video is it sort of selects the highest resolution and sets everything else to that resolution and letterboxes it, so everything goes smaller. So
Right,
was it that Twitter?
I've just put
Yeah,
that's
cool.
a Twitter link in the chat.
Yeah, no worries. I just max. Oh yes.
Tesla supercharger monitoring tool. It's a little video that you can play.
Yes, I'm going to 2 seconds.
Superchargers are mainly intended for longer distance travel. They're also important for peace of mind. Our current uptime for the network is over 99%. We also have a very large service organization that is responsible for, in real time, monitoring all of the equipment across the network and going out and fixing things constantly, from component replacements to firmware and software upgrades. All of our sites are 24/7 accessible, is super important for driving forward EV adoption. Superchargers are main.
It's actually not strictly true. That not all the sites are 24/7, but most of them are. Yeah, that's right. Technically,
but
that's right.
24/7, Harold?
Well, it practically is, but it's technically not.
Right. Okay.
So, I think if you look at Tesla's website, it actually. I do have this up, but my computer's a bit slow. It does say it's not 24/7, and there's another site in Brisbane, I believe, that's not 24/7 either.
Yeah.
2 seconds. I'll just go to.
So Carmen,
menu.
Yes.
You're going to take your kids to go and see Tay-Tay?
But yes, daughter and granddaughter.
They'll love it. She's pretty amazing on stage, just so you know.
Yeah.
She played a show the other night and she played in the rain.
Really?
Yeah, the whole time it was raining and she didn't get off stage. She's no princess, so she doesn't.
No, she was awesome when she came to Perth. I did go see her when they first opened the stadium.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was the second show.
Yes.
It was after Ed Sheeran. Oh, sorry.
Yes. Very,
Yeah,
very good.
this one's a lot bigger. This one's even huge.
Yeah.
Much
That's
bigger.
amazing.
Yeah, so
Yes, I've given her the choice. I've SMS'd her and said, check out Singapore and see what you think. But I think they want to go with friends, and their friends are going to Sydney, so it's possible they will have to do it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But we'll check it out. We'll check it
It will
out.
sell out quickly. Sorry.
I know, but
That's
it's not
right.
open yet, is it? It's not
No,
open.
it's not open yet, but it will sell out once it goes. It will sell
In
out.
hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coldplay
Amazing.
sold out in 40 minutes. It was like.
Really?
Yeah. The first show, Coldplay sold it in 40 minutes.
Wow.
And they weren't going to advertise the second show, and then they did, and then it was like, yeah, it was sold out in 40 minutes as well. I don't know. I know about 3 people in Perth that got tickets.
Really?
3 people that I know. I don't know whoever the tickets went, but I know 3 people that got tickets. Like,
okay.
Sure, Harold was probably one of them. Yeah.
No, last concert I was at, Jared, was AC/DC at Subi Oval.
Oh, Subi Oval, yeah, right. With the horns.
I was at the same concert.
Yeah, except I didn't pay for the tickets because I
didn't
wouldn't.
either. Sadly.
I was the +1 for my wife, and at the time she was working at St John of God Hospital, and for some reason they got a whole slab of tickets. I don't know why, but
that was a good. It was as my first concert ever, and I think I was back then 45-ish. I'm now 51, or about to be 51. Yeah, that was not a bad gig.
it was loud.
Very loud.
It was very loud.
Yeah.
Hey Jared, you can't hear it. You just have
No, my
earplugs
hearing's
on.
No, I've never worn earplugs, but my hearing's really been affected over the years of shows. That's for sure. And they just get loud. And they just get louder. I mean, they don't. A lot of them just don't care. Like the EPA come in during the day, and they take the measurement of sound during the day, and they go, "Yeah, this is what we're going to play at," and then they give them a pass for the day pass, and they go, "Well, when you come back tonight, here's your night pass." And the pass they give them for night doesn't allow them to go into the front of house area. So they're not allowed to go in there. And there's like 30 security guards standing at the front and go, "I don't care who you are, you're not coming in." And there's some little French sound guy just going, "Well, the band told me just to make it loud and we'll pay the fine." And he pushes it up. And they just, Pink Floyd, 1988, East Fremantle Oval. The sound was twice as loud as it was supposed to be, but you know, the 36,000 people there just love the concert. They're all stoned and watching the show, you know. So they all do it. All the big bands, they just don't care. They just, whatever, they'll just push it up higher.
I have noticed.
It's the ones that go with, they've got to, worry about money and worry about this. When they're making $28 million a day, who cares? What's $30,000 for a sound bridge? They'd rather have it really loud, and so people go away going, wow, that was just a great show. I really felt it. Yeah, I feel sorry for when Metallica come in next year and they play at the stadium. That will be even loud again. It's another thing, So yeah, the louder they get, definitely. So.
What was the guy in Good Morning Vietnam when he rang in? He was from artillery, and they asked him what he wanted to play. I don't care, just play it loud.
Just play it loud if they can hear it. That's exactly it. Oh, look, Ed Sheeran played at the Dome when it first opened, and the problem with that was his production was so small and so woeful for he sold out that stadium, and the stadium wasn't acoustically treated for have proper sound structure. Like, they just had a basic sound system where they needed something more hangs in certain spots to fill the holes, and they didn't have that. So people went there and they were disappointed by the sound. So when Tay-Tay was the second show that went there, they then went there with a much better system. So when he just did his tour recently, he had a lot bigger sound system, and it was, hangs everywhere. So it really felt like it's all over the place. And that's what the acoustics now, I mean, I'm not a sound expert, I'm a lighting expert. But the sound now is they can have a speaker and it's the size of nothing, and it can be up in the air. And the guys that put the speakers, the sound system up in the air, they work on CAD drawings, and they know exactly where that speaker is going to hit, and that they'll cover those 2 rows or 3 rows at the back of the stadium at that part, and they'll cover it with the sound, and they'll hear it. It'll be like beautiful and crystal. And it's amazing how they do stuff. It's not like the old days when they just put boxes on top of boxes on top of more boxes and ratchet strap, and then just go blare out and just go everywhere, and you would be deafened by so much loud noise. Where now it's so treated so well, it's amazing. The technology's 5 times changed, and a lot of the old guys that did sound aren't doing it now. A lot of the old guys, the only sound that they do is that they'll mix the band. They'll be front of house engineers, because the technology side now is the guys that do the sound for that have to have engineering degrees and CAD degrees and 4 degrees in different acoustic levels. It's like different world, whole different world. But people expect that. They pay $300 a ticket. They expect to be, to be entertained. I mean, Taylor Swift, she's on stage for 3.5 hours. She's going to do things that are going to blow people away. She's going to be on elevators. She's got drops. She's got a part where there's a whole screen. It's like a C, and a tiny little bit opens, and she jumps through it and lands on a soft cushion underneath. You don't see it, and then you see her swimming in the sea. But it's just a video, but it looks like she's jumped in the ocean. All those little gimmicks is a part of the show. Yeah. So it's all the circus.
And all that for as little as $80, because that's where the cheapest tickets are.
Yeah, that's the nosebleed section, $80.
Yeah.
That's where you need binoculars, and you still need to, have some sort of visuals. But yeah, I mean, if you pay decent money to get better seats, you get an amazing show. But they certainly put a lot of effort into their shows these days, because people just can't sit there for 3 hours and not be bored. They've got to be entertained. You look at Richard Chapman, he'll just fall asleep on you. Go on. So yeah.
Alrighty. Well, before everyone falls asleep, we might get to the process of wrapping up. Unless we've got any last drinks for this week.
We've only just started.
Oh, that's right.
Me. It's only 4:20 in the afternoon. It's not even gin and tonic time.
Come on, Nigel, let's go. I work from home on a Thursday. I'm good. So does Paul.
You never see Nigel this late at night on a Wednesday.
Wouldn't that be time for you after? Nigel?
No. It's nearly gin and tonic time.
Oh, of course.
Legend.
Nice.
Very, very good. Next week, it's going to be an Ask Us Anything on the road. So it won't be as quite salubrious as it is in this studio.
On the road?
Anyway.
Where are you going to be?
I can't possibly say. But
How intriguing.
I'll be back in Perth by then.
Yeah, it should be
Very good. Very good. Very
Exciting.
good. But yes, yeah, can't wait. And I mean, now that Alex has poisoned me with the photo of the superchargers going in at Lancelin, it's only 120 k's from my place to Lancelin. I might have to do a few trips. Oh, dearie me.
Right.
Anyway, it's going to be exciting. All right, Pete, nothing we forgot. I think we've covered most of things. I think we're all pretty good this week.
Yeah.
Share price looked a little bit down, I think. I just had a quick look and it's 268, so it's having a bit of a wander. But then Apple's down to yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Who's down as well, though?
Yeah, Apple's down a little bit. So alrighty, so
Backs down.
Oh, USB-C, Pete, in the new phone. Confirmed. Apple's new i15 USB-C.
Oh, that was a long-held rumor.
Yeah, no, it's definitely confirmed for this one.
Very good.
Yeah,
because I think the EU's mandated, basically mandated it, haven't they? Effectively.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense for them to do a separate charger for Europe, but the iPads had it for years. So,
correct. Yeah, correct.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
So which one is the one we're going to have?
USB-C.
USB-C.
Okay.
The same thing that our cars have. Sorry, not your car, Carmen. The Model Ys and the new Model 3s have got USB-C.
Okay.
Everything all merging into USB-C now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Awesome. All right, Pete, how would you round out an awesome show like this?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. Like I said, next week on the road.
Grumpy.
And for being grumpy. Next week's on the road. Have an awesome week. Hopefully we got some pretty cool news next week. And look forward to seeing you all on another episode of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Have fun.